Kevin.
Hey, welcome back to Kevin Pollak's Chat Show. I am, as always, Chat Show. Here's the interesting thing.
Oh no. Kevin Pollak has lost his mind. Stroke! Stroked out. Stroked. Stroked out right there.
You can't.
It's almost more fun to see how the guests react to the buffering gag.
Not until now.
Stroke.
The guests have never really reacted before with a joke.
Stroke.
Strokey.
Aneurysm.
When did that become a thing? You seem a little strokey.
Just now.
Just now? We better go to the two because he's feeling it. He's feeling it.
Having
my
surgery
director
done over here. This is fantastic.
Welcome back, everyone, to episode. What is it, Josh? Now 98, 42,
Whoa, 88 miles per hour?
87, 88.
Oh,
Magic 88.
We've achieved the
I know
correct
it's 88
number.
because I wrote out the checks.
Oh, listen to her.
It's the funniest number, 88.
How so?
That's 88 keys on a piano.
Hilarious. What
Hilarious.
That is.
88,
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
Ticket of
That's all I got.
86.
You've been working since 6:30 a.m., haven't you?
yes, I have.
And I've been drinking
Preparing
since
for
noon.
this? Sorry.
Hey, who moved into a new house and is just now out of cardboard? Someone who works on this show apparently still has cardboard boxes in his office. I'm not going to say who, but it's been 11 months. Nothing from him.
Tom Sizemore.
Tommy Sizemore, back from Dr. Drew. And it's interesting also when you move, how your friends scatter like roaches in the kitchen
Oh
when you
my
turn the
gosh.
lights on. It's unbelievable. Hey,
I
what are you
actually
doing?
had one
I
friend
gotta-
tell me that he makes it a policy not to ever help anybody move whenever I asked him. He's like, I just don't do it across the board. Like, I don't, no.
Feel free to include them.
Your
Is
friend
anyone
has
at
money.
the TriCast? No, there we go. Sammy, how
Yeah, buddy.
you've been nowhere. We're trying to move. You know, there's no help from you. Nothing.
I tried to explain to you the first time I'm Jewish.
Ah,
We built the pyramids, and then we
Right.
called it a day for the rest of our lineage.
so unless you're enslaved
Yeah.
by a pharaoh,
Uh-huh. Of sorts.
you're not moving shit.
Or J. Pharaoh.
Or
I
Jay
I love
Pharaoh,
Jay Fair. We were just talking about him
who
on the way
apparently
here.
now is the leader of the pack.
He's amazing.
You seen this kid on the SNL? Do the
yes.
Will Smith and the Denzel Washington? Oh my,
and the Eddie Murphy.
Christ.
Very, very funny.
Very good.
he's
So-
too good.
yeah,
And
so
as
to
Jamie
recap,
was pointing out
unless Jay Farrow
earlier,
enslaves me. What?
in the past you've had a lot of the cast members. You know, you're so and so this week, and then they're just doing themselves, and it's awful. Whereas this kid is actually bringing it beyond. We're big fans already. He's been on the television 6 weeks,
Or so.
and we love him already. Hey, who saw the press release for the $1 Million Money Drop? Anyone?
I did.
It
Very
debuts 6 weeks from tomorrow, Monday, December 20th, 4 nights straight
Wow, 6 weeks from tonight?
in the prime time on the Fox network.
6 weeks from tonight.
6 weeks from tomorrow
Okay.
night.
I'm
Put
putting
that
it
in the
down
phone.
right now.
Put that on the calendar. Leading up to Christmas Eve. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday's Christmas Eve. And then a week later, New Year's Eve, we're having a housewarming party. So we'll know by Christmas Eve if the $1 Million Money Drop is a crazy, sloppy hit or a historical failure. So then a
What?
week later, it's the housewarming New Year's party. Either way, I'm hitting the booze hard,
Okay.
right?
Well, it just depends. It's like, are we going to get Dom or are we going to get like Verdi?
Larry's
Like, this
champagne
is-
birdie. Nice.
You know, so you'll be able to judge once you get there. It's like, they brought out the Verdi.
Yeah.
It's not
From
doing
Pete's
so well.
House of Champagne. You'll be drinking, it'll be flowing from a thing. So, all right. It's definitely that time. Let's go to Ask Kevin because really I just had the $1 Million Money Drop in the moving shtick. That's all I had for you. Wow, it's a graphic with a thing. Kenny, anything?
Here comes some coffee.
Nothing? Bring in that coffee.
Bring it
Go
in.
ahead,
Oh, that
while
looks
Kenny, while
great.
Dr. Chen works on the teleprompter where I have nothing. It's just a gray
There's nothing
screen.
in that coffee.
Yeah. Come on right in.
All right.
Welcome, won't
Hey,
you?
how you doing?
It's Jason
Thanks.
McIntyre, everybody.
Jason McAtee, everybody.
McIntyre!
I'm enormous. My hand is huge. Sorry.
Sugar and milk, please.
Oh, this smells.
I think that
Or
might have been the.
sweetener,
I think
whatever
it
you
might have
want.
got you in time
I
for
got
the
it.
eggnog.
That was on camera. Or on
It's that
mic.
time of the. Oh,
Yep.
it's great. Oh.
See, I like the peppermint chocolate this time of year. You go right to the nog of egg.
Well, they don't sell it any other time of the year.
Yeah,
Right.
peppermint chocolate you can get any old day.
Yeah.
I've told you this many times.
Any old day. This is a big ad for the people at the
At
place.
the Bucks.
Yeah, because they really need the.
They're hurting.
Yeah.
They got the sign at the as you walk in the door, drifters welcome. That was the only funny joke last night, I thought, in Schmegegi's weekend update.
I have not seen it as I worked many hours and was asleep before.
The very first Starbucks on a cruise ship opened up. And already there's a homeless guy in the bathroom. That was pretty good.
Pretty good. The Onion had one years ago that would said Starbucks to open in Starbucks bathroom.
Now
that was good.
there's your winner. Ask Kevin, this one, a Jewish question. What? By
Do it in Hebrew.
D300 LBSA. What's happening here?
Very
Is that a name?
Jewish name.
Wow.
It's his Hebrew.
Is
It's a
there
Jewish
any
rapper.
way to learn Hebrew and or Yiddish? Is there any way
Rosetta Stone?
to learn? Is it easier to speak or write?
Ooh.
I'm going to say speak. And I learned Hebrew by going to Hebrew school twice a week for 3 fucking years leading up to my bar mitzvah.
Oh, well,
And I
but you didn't learn Hebrew, you just learned your Haftorah.
my Haftorah I learned from an album.
Do it.
A
Right.
record album.
Do it.
My
Right.
Haftorah?
Hit it.
Okay. Shlamachech mishinech.
You do it as
You're going to get letters. You're going to get letters.
You do it as Columbo.
I do it as called.
Kevin, how many standing ovations did you get?
7
during your-
applause breaks
7
during
applause
my
breaks.
speech at my bar mitzvah. 7 applause breaks.
How many times did you say "but seriously" before you went back into it? 7
3.
times. 3.
No,
All right.
I just remembered. So there's your answer, Fishbulb. Gritty by Jared Bratt. Hello, sir. Any stories from the making of End of Days? Oh, are you kidding? Great action thriller horror flick. I always loved this movie and the chemistry between you and refreshingly different gritty damaged goods Arnold. Wow. I think this is actually one of Arnold's most underrated and unique movies, and Gabriel Byrne as the devil, what's not to love? Thanks. I will.
Boring.
I will tell
Jeez.
you that
Say it.
the reason that when Arnold announced shortly thereafter that he was running for governor, that I was not surprised and actually excited about, because on the set a crew member came up to Arnold and I in the middle of a conversation and said, "I want to introduce you to my cousin who's visiting from Israel." Arnold's immediate reaction was, "Oh, they just had the mayoral race in Tel Aviv." He named the 3 candidates for the mayoral race in Tel Aviv. He named all 3 candidates by name, why the 2 that were going to lose, and why the one. I mean, I thought, this is clearly a hobby beyond anything I've ever seen. He's sick with the politics knowledge and whatnot. Who are you? Not even the people of Tel Aviv could have told you all 3 candidates. So anyways, that was one of the things that struck me. And then he was playing chess every day with anyone that would come by the trailer would play chess. I just remember just anyone to come in his trailer, which was maybe 2 city blocks. And also I
Didn't you say
remember
it had a
just
giant gym in the trailer? Like
yeah.
one of the trailers?
No, there was a
giant.
second trailer.
Yeah, and it was just
that
like a
was
giant,
the
like
gym.
gold, like mini gold gym.
And he would taunt me as I walked by. Are you going to get another cheeseburger? Come in already. Will you wait till you get the croissant? He didn't sound like that. This one from Chris Staggs from Lincoln, Nebraska. A lot of things Bradley said last week about theater education, that would be Bradley Woodford, is completely true. I have a theater degree from a small Midwestern college, so my job prospects are beginningless as well as endless. What? If you had an opportunity right now to take some theater classes, would you do it? What if someone offered the chance to teach? What if someone offered the chance to teach? Offered me the chance to teach, I must assume. If I had a chance to take theater classes right now, would I? Are you mad?
I mean, would you take acting classes?
Yes, that's the question. Are you suggesting that I could use some, that I would benefit?
I felt like there's a couple scenes in Casino that were like,
A couple of scenes. I'm only in a couple scenes.
oh shoot.
A couple scenes from Casino, my guess says, were kind of flat.
Joanna Man has been on cable again.
Wow, again with the Joanna. It's every week now with the Joanna Man jokes.
And I haven't seen it since I saw it on that airplane.
Uh-huh.
And
It actually opened on a plane.
it
And you
did.
had to have a round trip between LA and San Francisco to see the whole film.
That's a fine film, Kevin.
Wow, that's as far as you're going to
I
take
like the part where Kevin's wearing the bra in the film.
Hilarious.
Kevin, I know that you haven't introduced me yet, but I was on a plane last week, and they forgot to start running the film until about an hour and 15 minutes before we landed.
So you didn't get to
It
see
ran for 35 minutes. I was like, oh, Dinner for Schmucks was okay for the first 35 minutes. I was into it, and then it went
How
away.
surprisingly bad was that movie?
I don't know. I can't tell you because I saw 35 minutes of it.
All right. Are we on to the Larry King game? I think we are. Did my director explain to you that we'll be closing the show with your very version? Here's an
Yeah,
example
I'm
of the
sorry.
Larry
I'm
King
gonna
game.
apologize in advance.
Yeah, no. I'll give you an example right now. The viewers write in their own, as long as
You mean
They-
viewer?
yeah, the viewer writes in his own.
All right.
3 rules: you must do a bad Larry King impression,
No problem.
right? And then we want that moment on the air when Larry shares something about himself that none of us want to know.
Yes.
And then go to the phone. And the name of the city should be funny sounding, maybe someplace you grew up nearby.
No problem.
Okay, here's an example. This week is offered to us from, do we know? Chris Daggs? Lincoln, Nebraska? Son of a bitch.
Same guy?
Bastard.
How did the same guy get 2 questions in one show?
No, this is his Larry King game.
It's literally impossible.
Because he's our one viewer.
you
Because
go.
he's our
That's
one
fine.
viewer. Speaking today with the late Charles Nelson Riley, I was reminded that the delicious pumpkin pancakes at IHOP make excellent shaving aids. Dan Brock, Nebraska. Dan Brogg, Nebraska. You have something to add? There we go. Thank you very much for that.
Nice.
Only because he's been on the show. Orgasm in column IL4. Only because he's been on the show for the last 12 minutes without actually
Sorry.
being on camera. I'm just going to go jump right to it. Larry McHale, you.
Larry.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me.
Hey.
We have to
Cheers.
applaud.
How's the
cheers.
how's the Christmassy
Drink. I feel like, as soon as Halloween hits, all the Christmas drinks come out.
Your offspring are the oldest enjoyed the Halloween, I'm guessing.
He loved it. Though he was very excited for days to the point where he was making himself ill, I think. And then he wore this huge train costume. He's 18.
Unstoppable?
Yeah, he's 18. And
He dresses unstoppable?
Unstoppable commercials would come on. He'd be like, we must go to that now.
Really?
He had this big green train costume that my friend built, and he got into it at 4:30 or 4 and said, I'm not going to eat because he didn't want to get his costume dirty. And then we didn't go trick-or-treating until about 6:30. So he had already been in it 2.5 hours.
Well,
and then by about, I got to say, he lasted a 5-year-old running up down very steep hills. He did very well. And then he got to the point where it was like, I don't think I want to do this anymore. And then we just took it off him, and then we'd go to house. And as we get to the house, we'd stick it back on, and then it was hard managing stairs with it, but we wouldn't have had it any other way.
Your friend made this costume.
Yes, my friend Todd Moore.
Holy crap.
I couldn't have made it.
No.
It would have been dangerous.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it would have been made out of sheet metal. And,
You must have pictures of this.
yes, but I have a new phone, so.
Oh, yeah? Which one'd you get?
Well, I have the iPhone.
Sure.
Which I like very much. I love the browser.
However,
However,
make a call.
I can't not leave the buttons of the BlackBerry. I just love the email and the texting and the all that stuff is just so straightforward.
you love it.
But I do like the iPhone very much for the browser and for everything else it does. The camera.
Did you get the iPad after Steve yelled at us?
I already had it.
Oh, yeah.
You never got it.
I finally did. I finally broke down.
Did you buy the 3G?
Yeah.
I just got the 3G.
Yeah.
So, because my kids have taken the other one over with Angry Birds.
It's great with the
It's
game.
a $600 Angry Bird machine. Thank God. I could have gotten a PS3 for cheaper with numerous games, but no, $600.
What's your?
But I'm addicted to Angry. I can't get enough. The Angry Birds Halloween edition came out. I was like, oh, I love it.
That's not embarrassing at all.
No.
And yet you make fun of Ryan Seacrest.
Yet I do. Yes, there is. Yeah, it's a paradox.
And is his payback that he never ever mentions you? How does he?
Well, his payback is really that I think he's made, and I'm not joking, over
$19 million?
$50 million
In
the
the
last
last-
4 years. 4 years going, he's made it each year. But no, I'm an ant under his enormously well-buffed, pedicured foot. And I was on his radio show this week, which, no offense, gets more listeners than this, but
better.
he had me on, and he's very gracious. And I'm always like, Ryan, I'm sorry, we love you. You know, I mean, he's the figurehead of the network, so we have to address him.
He's the poster boy.
He's one of the most powerful people in the solar system.
It's crazy because here's the other thing. How long has Idol been on? Sam, you would know.
Started in 2002.
2002.
Is Sam doing an impression of you? Your director also sounds exactly like you.
Like me?
I have a question for you, Kevin. Born and raised in San Francisco, right?
Born and then raised nearby in San Jose.
Why do you sound like you're from Brooklyn? Why? It makes no sense. And he's like, again with the thing. How about a douche? And all this stuff. And I was like, you're from Oakland. You're from Walnut Creek.
I'm from Danbury.
It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I think it's because I watched all those stupid movies as a kid.
It fits
Everyone does think I'm from the East Coast.
And you wear a hat like that.
Right?
Does Gorin, the hat company, sponsor you?
How did you know that was from Gorin?
I could tell the symbol.
You're a fan.
I love the Gorin hats.
Aren't they? They're
Great.
handmade.
Do you go to the Melrose store?
I just started. And they're
That's
going
good
to
stuff.
provide me with hats for this show.
How did you bring that up?
I can't believe you brought it up.
Did you walk in with
You
your
brought-
iPad and be like, whoa, my gosh, my interview with Paul Rudd. Huh, it's just going on right there. Anyway, look at that head.
Anyways, you know why I wear hats? Because my forehead will signal ships at sea.
No, you have a good bald head.
Hey!
There's a lot of people that don't.
I want to know, if I may,
Will I cry
when you
during this?
were recruited to be on the crew team
Wow.
at the Washington University,
Great transition.
was your plan to be a 1980s comedy villain, like Bradley Whitford?
Oh, on the crew team. What? Yeah, it was not my plan.
Because I'm
going in.
sensing the sweaters, and then Theta Chi shortly thereafter.
I was in a very, very brief time was in a fraternity.
And they still come after you, right?
They still claim me as a guy.
Can I guess what your secret handshake was?
Yes.
Pinkies crossed,
It's just the pinkies.
right?
You don't need to cross them. You just penetrate something.
But when you shake hands, the pinkies do this.
Oh, I swear to you on my life, I have no idea. It sounds right. Because I remember when they gave me the secret handshake, I was like, okay, now give me the secret handshake.
Did
And they're
you?
like, we just did. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. All that for this? All that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in there for 2.5 not fun months. I met some very nice guys.
I remember-
Were nice individually when they got together.
Yeah.
It was they could have, it was like they were always going to storm a castle
Yeah.
with booze
Yeah.
and
see,
condoms.
I lasted 9 months in college.
Good for you.
Yeah.
You went to the USF.
No.
No idea.
San Jose University.
San Jose State.
Yeah.
The biggest party school. No, Chico State's the biggest party school.
Chico's crazy.
Yeah.
If you're in California.
But you were close to Six Flags.
Easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was when they're all wooden.
The flags.
No.
The roller coasters.
I was recruited to row out
Yes.
of high school, but there's no money in rowing.
There is.
Now, there's no one shows up to a rowing to
Also,
a
they're
regatta.
dicks. Aren't they dicks?
They were sure dicks to me.
Come on.
Yeah, it was bad.
Your dossier says it was all, we're going to shave your head.
Well,
if you're
what they
new to the
did
team.
at this time, I don't know if they still do it, they were shaving to initiate everyone, they would shave the head and the eyebrows and put it into a hair pillow, or a pillow, and that made it a hair pillow. And then there was a little display case of said pillows throughout the year, or throughout the decades of crew teams, and there they all were, just displayed hair, disgusting hair,
So how soon before you
stuffed into a bag.
thought, I'm not
Well, I got into a fight with the varsity crew team.
who was trying to shave your head?
No, I didn't push it. This guy and I, this guy named Jason Ramy, who I still know because whenever I see him, I'm like, wasn't that bizarre? We didn't push chairs in properly, and there was some line of tiled. I didn't know all the different rules at that point.
We didn't push in chairs
I
properly?
am not joking. This is the sort of stupid ass hazing that would go on, and I never figured out all the rules. I thought we just showed up and rode, but apparently that wasn't the way. I think it was because no one was watching the sport. They made up for it in stupid rituals, and so this was one of them.
Right.
They slapped us around a little bit, and
It's all men, the crew team.
Oh, yeah, well, yes. Well, there is a women's crew who were they were terrific.
Never co-ed.
Never co-ed, no.
So maybe pushing in chairs.
Not in college at that point.
Maybe pushing in chairs properly is a euphemism.
Oh, I see what you mean.
They all men's.
Yes, and then it was bad. I look back on that time as not good.
And some brilliant friend of yours said, you should try football.
Yeah, there was guys in my fraternity who were on the football team. A guy named Chico Fraley, who was an awesome football player, and a guy named Ernie Conwell, and people who were actually good at it. And I did it as kind of a whim, as a fluke, to see if I could kill myself.
Right.
And after that 2.5 years, I was like, oh, well, I should stop because I haven't been mortally wounded yet. And I was not a good player. I made the defense look terrific.
So it's usually a damn fine team that they put out of the University of Washington.
It hasn't been in the last few years, but now they're on the mend. They got a great new coach. They've got a very good quarterback, and so I feel like they just need to believe. And,
they need to believe.
Just need to.
They need to think they're Ducks.
They need to be neat. Yeah. Well, when I was there, the Ducks weren't great.
Right.
So it all flipped. We were national champions. I came in the year after that, so I brought the program down. But
you were the guy they pointed to.
yeah, they were like, it was Joel. No, there was a bunch of ethics violations when I was there, and that's right as I left. There was all this like bribes had come out, and it was bad.
Did the Almost Live thing start when you were in college?
It did. I was a senior. How'd you know about Almost Live?
Dude, you
see,
have
somebody
a
went on-
dossier.
So far, you haven't done what most people do. It's like, it says here you. I was like, you read that wrong. Yeah, because I often, like with the fraternity thing, I'll just like, I was like, I hate it when it's the first thing listed, and then it goes right back. Someone was like, you took it off. He was a better guy for 3 months. Yeah, no, that was a great time. Now,
because I remember going through Seattle as a stand-up in the late '80s, and Almost Like what? Ross Schaefer? No.
Ross Schaefer, yes, Almost Live, yes, gosh,
right.
And John Keister.
Yeah.
I was an intern there in college. I know this is fascinating.
It is, believe me.
And that's where it was a local sketch comedy show that was on the NBC affiliate. So
after or before SNL?
We pushed SNL to 12:05.
No, you didn't.
Yes.
Holy
and
shit,
Lorne
dude.
Michaels, I heard, was not happy about that until the lead-in turned out great.
Have you hosted SNL yet?
Twice, thanks.
Dude, I was with you when you were gearing up to do it again.
No, I have never hosted SNL.
Seriously?
You have to be a celebrity to do that. I'll let you know. I'll let you know that. So Almost Live.
No, I'm trying to draw a connection between the two.
Between
a show you were on pushing SNL to 12:05.
No.
Lorne not being happy about it.
Oh, but then apparently he was happy when he saw that his lead-in went up. So we did. It was the 11 o'clock news, and then it was us, and then it was SNL.
You must have done better than the news, yeah.
Yeah. So we built and built and built, and that was great. And it was a very strange. It was a great place for me to screw up and learn how to be on TV a little bit. Because it was an anomaly. Nowhere else in the country did you have a locally produced sketch comedy show on an affiliate, a real affiliate. So Ross Schaefer, it started like in '83 or '84. He was the original host. John Keister was one of the writers and producers. He became the host. A guy named Pat that's where Bill Nye got his start. Pat Cashman, who was legendary local comic in Seattle, and if he had wanted to come down here and be Phil Hartman, he could have, and he still does incredibly well. But he was the voice on Bill Nye for so many years, and so it was this great place where they really took care of me.
So you kind of grew up watching this show.
I did. I grew. Yeah.
And this was like a huge.
Yes, to get on it was a
fantasy.
huge. Yes, it was great. Except in the fantasy, I had a ball gag.
Ball gag. To block. That should be the name of your third book, by the way.
Yeah, that's it. And then I left that to go to graduate school. So, because I thought it was a great job, but I knew
But graduate school was to go back and study
theater,
the dramatic arts.
the dramatic arts.
So you thought,
A lot of kabuki.
this funny thing that I'm naturally gifted at, it's too easy. I want to go be a tree in the wind.
Yes. tay in the wind. No, I wanted to sit and I wanted to be able to just act for 2 years, 3 years straight without any. I really kind of hopefully learned how to do that. I always felt like I needed something like that before I came to LA or New York. So for whatever reason in my mind, I always thought that. And as I got there, I was like, yes, I definitely needed it.
When do you think the "Hey, look at me" disease that all performers suffer from
Started?
Well, I mean, are we talking
First grade, Haddonfield, New Jersey.
Stop it.
No joke.
What happened?
That was the first time I was ever on stage, and it was a school version of It's a Small World.
Stop it. What are you talking about?
Yes, that's how Disney gets
you're in
to
a
kids.
ride?
That's how we basically gave Disney the inspiration for Pirates of the Caribbean becoming a movie. No, but
a live version of
when
It's a
I
Small
think back
World?
to it, was a live version of It's a Small World. I don't know who wrote it, but it was a brilliant on behalf of Disney. If they sent it out to schools, go like, sure, perform our ride. Come to the actual
But
ride.
there's no story. You're just on the side.
It was what it was it was just different performance or different like cultural things from around the
What
world.
country did you represent?
Well, that was the thing, is that they had a lot of the school was involved, and there was auditions.
Shut up. You're first grade.
There was but you were all going to be in the show, but it was like, who wants to be the snake? We need to have. I played a cobra who was charmed out of a basket. Then they needed. I am not kidding. A gorilla, for Sweden, and I literally mimed peeling a banana. They're like, wow. And then
So there are first graders who were saying to their friends, "Did you get a call back?"
yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was. And then I rang the bells like they do in, I don't know, Yodel Land. No, Switzerland or wherever they ring bells, and so I was wearing. No, it was Germany, Lederhosen, and so I ended up getting all these little roles in this thing, and my parents were like, I had apparently not told them or anything, and they came to this performance, and I was in it a lot, and they were like, who's this little jerk? He's just the one who's always screaming about stuff to us. So that was the first time I was on stage where I was like, this is.
But did something happen when you were either ringing a bell or peeling a banana that the audience actually responded in such a way that something went off in your head? Because that's usually, there's something that has to go off in there that goes, holy shit, this is great.
Where the audience was like just overwhelmed with
whether they're laughing or applauding, whatever they're doing, they give you something that is not the norm as you walk through.
I don't think so. That sets me apart
So
from a lot of performers.
so it was
where
just
there was
being on
never a
stage?
moment they're like, well, that's incredibly average. And if it wasn't a little kid, I would yell at him to leave the stage.
So it's just the act of it.
That was just the act of it.
Of just being on stage.
Yeah, I knew that I really enjoyed it.
It's amazing that, because your sons are now, 5.
I have a 5 and a 2.
Yeah, so Eddie.
And Jewish name. You'll get it.
Isaac.
Nice.
I talked to him yesterday.
That's right. I spoke to him yesterday on the phone. Gave him the Donald Duck.
Sneeze.
Which was a noise they were not expecting. And Eddie was. I was watching it because we were at a stoplight. I was just watching Eddie as it happened. He was just like.
On the speakerphone in the car.
Yes, on the Bluetooth. So he was very happy. It was like, that man made a crazy noise. He's like, yeah. It was very good. He does a very good Donald Duck sneezing.
Well,
You want to do it?
please.
No.
Do it.
It's very good on the Bluetooth.
It is. It might not be something you want to see.
It really isn't.
So-
I've scared children when they see me do it. If they just hear it, it's fantastic.
They should cut to Joel's camera, and then you do it, and we'll base it on his reaction.
I can react the way Eddie reacted.
I'd rather have Eddie.
Yeah, we're doing this is
Very
way
well.
too much
We'll wait till
planning.
Eddie's on the show.
Is it true you were born at the Vatican Easter Sunday? Mm-mm. You were born in Rome.
I was born in Rome, and I was baptized at the Vatican.
Shut the fuck
I am not joking. I always tell people that, and they're like, wow, my face looks like I'm a ghost.
What is that? No, it doesn't. These monitors are terrible.
All right, good.
These monitors are terrible.
I actually was. Yes, my parents lived in Rome, where my brothers and I were born.
Yeah, because your dad.
My dad was the dean of students at Loyola University Chicago, which has a campus in Rome. Catholics, Loyola, come on, Jesuits. And my mom's dad worked for the UN.
So your dad had some juice with the Pope?
No, I didn't get baptized by the Pope.
Well,
There's a lot of other priests around the Vatican. Are you huge?
again, Jew. I don't know anything about this.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's
Just
not.
not the Pope and 3 guys.
No, it's huge because
Are we
it would
talking-
take. He would just be spending all his time cleaning that place.
Hundreds and hundreds and.
There are so many priests around. You've never seen more priests.
Right.
And yeah, so my parents were like, "Pfft, when in Rome, literally. And why not? So we did, and yeah, and they have pictures of us outside the Vatican. You're like, we did it.
What was the last
We're Hindus, but I don't
age?
know.
Yeah. What was the last age where you went from saying it, I was baptized at the Vatican, seriously, to appreciating the humor and fun to be had at saying?
Oh gosh.
Like, because there must have been a time when you were young where, you know what I mean. You're
I never even thought about it when I was young. I'm not kidding. I was just like, that's what. And then when I'd mention it, sometimes you're like, really?
That's
And be
when
like,
it dawns on you.
Yeah, and they were like, yeah. And then I always think I was joking
Right.
because I would have joked about other things. So I was like, no. I brought it. I have it tattooed on my chest. The certificate that says I was baptized there. Yeah, so that was crazy.
All right, so you're studying the dramatic arts at
University of Washington.
you're still at U of W.
Yeah, I went there for undergraduate, then I went to Almost Live, then I went back.
Met your wife
Yep,
there.
in undergraduate. I was still an undergraduate. She had just graduated.
Right.
So I had a year left.
When does the Circle X Theater begin?
Oh my gosh. There's a job. That was the first time I did it. Circle X Theater is a local theater here in LA that does very experimental stuff, and it was a number of people are from Washington, from the University of Washington, started that. One being Jim Anzide, who is a master, and it's still going today. And I knew some of the people there, so in 2001 I did a play there, and then I did another one in 04 or 05. But yeah, we did a new Old English version of Beowulf.
Stop it.
Yeah, we called it Grendel, and yeah, it was quite the. It was long. It was. I mean, we enjoyed it a lot, but it was one of those just like huge epic things in Old English.
Oh my God.
It was crazy.
Yeah, this is why
People are like, "Oh, you're never gonna like in graduate school." They're like, "You'll never do kind of avant-garde theater again." So as soon as I got to LA, they're like, "All right, let's do that." It's crazy.
So you did that so-called avant-garde theater in university.
Yeah, you do like Genet and stuff like that.
I
and,
don't know.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, no.
But it's one of those things where in graduate school you can pull out anything and be like, we should do this obscure Korean play that was put up once and sold in 1935. So.
But it captivated your attention all through while you're reaching for the master's degree. You're actually riveted by the process.
Of the plays or the work of it?
Yeah.
Oh yes, definitely.
And there were a couple of professors that just get brighter here. Am I having an anti-stroke?
Anti-stroke.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, a guy
I
named
got brighter.
Mark Jenkins, who now heads the school. He was an inspiration.
Jory, something Jory?
John Jory, but he came in as I was leaving.
Okay.
So he used to run the a theater in Louisville. He was he's part of he basically made the most popular and successful local regional theater in the United States. And he came to the University of Washington.
So LA is the first stop after.
Yes, it was either LA or New York, and you do these things in your graduate school. If you're an actor, you go to LA and New York, and you put way too much time and investment in doing a thing called the showcase, where you supposedly agents and producers come and see the fresh meat.
And you don't realize it till you're here a couple of years what a complete and utter waste of time that was.
Yeah, how little it actually, who actually is not coming, and how little it didn't really help.
Agents are sending their assistants.
Yeah, or even for ours, we had nobody. We had performances where it was like the parents of one of the people came, and yeah, one assistant. There was one agent there who came, and we were like, "There's an agent out there," and we don't know what. And he was like, "Basically, you guys are all great. We'd love to represent all of you," and he literally goes, "Here's how it works. All right, I need $200 a month." He literally.
Who was the guest that said their first agent charged them $40 a week?
Does that really
The
happen?
first agent or manager.
That's hilarious.
Wasn't too long ago.
No, that really for him to maintain you on his internet site was $200 a month, And I remember just thinking like, this is crazy. This is ridiculous.
I think it might have been Paul Rudd.
Ironically, though, we have a very so there was nobody in there. It was at the Tiffany Theater, which no longer exists. I don't
On
think it
Sunset
exists.
Boulevard?
On Sunset.
Yeah.
There was a show in there at a time that had it's a tiny stage. So there was an enormous grand piano on stage that like you cannot touch that. So we had a basically the size of this table. We were doing these scenes in, and no one showed up, but except for this guy named Sandy Smolin, who is a director who's married to an actor, a famous actor named Pamela Reed, who's done a lot of stuff with Arnold, and who was kind of, they were like my wife's
Kindergarten Cop. She was,
yes,
yeah,
she's
she was
one of the best actors I've ever seen in my life, and she's amazing, and we are friends with them today, thank God. And so he actually cast me. He had seen me do something, but he cast me and he gave me a little part in a
Holy crap.
cable show called The Hunter. So that was like I actually got a little job out of it. I played a clown who was behind on his child support payments, and so that actually worked. I didn't get an agent, but I got a little job. Then we went to New York, and actual agents and actual producers showed up. So in New York, there was actual theater of people, and we were doing it with other schools. And
I'm surprised New York wasn't the draw for you when you studied serious theater acting.
I knew I always wanted to I always wanted to work in TV. That was what always fascinated,
Right.
or movies.
You did the Almost Live.
Yeah, and I always wanted to be, and so I always thought the best, for the most part, the best theater actors made some of the best movie actors. So that's kind of was my logic.
So the Almost Live
Though
training.
not definitely, it has to be
No, it doesn't have to be that way. But the Almost Live training that you had, you were on that show several years.
3 years.
Yeah.
3.5.
So the live sketch, was that in front of a live
yes,
audience?
live audience,
Yeah.
and then taped live. And then
So
went,
incredible training
Yeah.
in terms of
Sink or
doing
swim.
live television.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So then you thought, well, I'll do some theater school to round out my
Yep.
alleged talent
Yep.
and know-how.
Yeah.
And then immediately when you finish that, it's, I really need to go back to...
Yeah, now
try
that was kind of always my plan, was to hopefully become well-grounded in my craft. And then get there, and that's why, I started hosting, The Soup, because that really lends itself to deep character work. And, so then in New York actually, because I got a good response from agents and things like that, I was like, oh, maybe I should come here.
Right.
But in the back of my mind, I knew, I was like, well, this is just going to be another stop before I go to LA, so might as well go straight to LA.
And the missus at that point?
She was like, oh, where else are you going to drag me? No, I told her before we got married, I was like, you're going to have to leave Seattle, because I'm gonna have to go to one of these cities and try it. So we got there, and I gave myself a 5-year plan. If things weren't working or happening, or something really significant wasn't happening in 5 years.
You landed in LA in 2000?
2000, yeah, October of 2000.
And 2004
Yep.
is when The Soup
We
starts for you, or the audition?
The
before?
audition process began in January of 2004. That was after I actually, strangely, I got here and I booked a guest star on Will and Grace.
Right.
Only because I lied and said I was over 6'7".
Well, you'd already lied your way onto a football
I lied my way
squad.
onto a football team.
Let's not forget that.
I did.
Yeah.
I lied to get on the team.
You met with the coach and you said, well, I
said,
played
yeah.
for my...
I played for my high school. I never had played in, it was stupid.
You were a
they were like,
walk-on
how
liar.
come we haven't heard of you? Like, I got injured.
You were a
What did you
walk-on
break?
liar.
Oh, my humors were imbalanced. My black bile was way too much.
Right.
It's terrible.
So then how did you lie your way onto Will and Grace?
Well, I had a friend from high school who was a manager at the time, who just told him, oh yeah, he's over 6'7". And then I went to a boot store and bought the most high-heeled boots you've ever seen.
From the Travolta collection?
Yes, they were actually a KC and a Sunshine Band. And so I walked in standing as high as I could.
Well, you probably came in at 6'6", because you're
probably, I'm 6'4", so it's right up there.
Yeah.
And I got this little role, and I ended up getting an agent out of that. And then the agent promptly dropped me 6 months later.
But you did start a relationship with Sean Hayes, it says. Here.
No, yeah, I mean, I knew him. I haven't spoken to him in years, but it wasn't like we ever exchanged numbers. He was incredibly cool, and I actually have a relationship with Eric McCormack more than he's been on The Soup, and completely cool and was really. I mean, they all were really great. For as huge that show was, they all were really cool to me. And Sidney Pollak was on that show, the episode I was on.
Shut up.
Yeah, and
you, of course, impressed him with.
Well, I had no idea what to do in that situation. Where I had never, I was fresh off the boat, and so I said, "Hey, I'd love to go to dinner with you."
No, you didn't.
Yeah.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, and he was like, "All right." So then he was like, "All right, I'm not going to be available this week." He was like, "Why don't we, why don't we just go to the commissary during a break?" I was like, "Great." Wow. And it was because he was so incredible. I didn't know any better. Now I'd be like, "Oh, it's just
ignorance is bliss."
So we talked about Eyes Wide Shut for about an hour, and I wanted to ask him about Tootsie and stuff like that, but
don't ask him anything about anything he directed. Definitely.
Yeah, we talked about Stanley Kubrick for an hour, and we talked about that scene in the pool room or in the billiard room where.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it took like 3 weeks to shoot that.
Well, he was famous for doing at least 75 takes.
Yeah, it was
and
very.
How did Sidney feel? Did Sidney comment on whether he hated or enjoyed the 75 takes?
You could tell. I think he was annoyed that it took so long.
Right.
But his conclusion to me was that he wasn't going for realism, and that Kubrick wasn't going for realism. I thought that was interesting, and then I was like, "What do you think he was going for?" And he's like, "I honestly don't really know." But he was very happy with the scene. And then that scene in the bathroom with the model that was knocked out or was passed out, and he runs and gets Tom Cruise, and she is everything all right?
Great.
Oh no. But that scene took 3 days to shoot. 3 days. And he said that poor girl just lying naked with her eyes closed for 3 days. I thought that was pretty funny.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. So that was one of those experiences I'll never forget.
Yeah. But I mean, again, it's only because you weren't experienced enough to not ask such a ridiculous question.
Right.
Can we go to dinner?
Yeah.
You were a guest star. You weren't even a regular on the show.
No.
And you had a scene with him?
I had a scene.
You didn't even have a scene.
We barely were in the same scene together because what's her name? Grace. We were at the Seussical together, and they were there, and she saw that he was cheating on Eric McCormick's character's mom. So he saw that, Will's mom. So that's where she spotted him, and then it turned out that I was cheating on my.
Are you telling me some of the plot line of a Will and Grace episode?
Well, you asked, and I couldn't remember, and I had to say it out loud. So then I got an agent. They dropped me because I didn't book anything after that, and they said that I was too. They said come back in 4 years.
Come back when you're 6'7".
They literally said, "Come back. You're too small for us. Please come back."
Come back when you're 6'7".
Yeah. Come back when you're more famous. So that was great.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and at that point I couldn't get an agent, and so I had a commercial agent, thank God, because they believed in me. And,
let's talk about the Dockers ad that you did for Christopher Guest.
Oh, that was a good time. That was.
You were the lead in a
Dockers ad,
kind of a Glee singing, dancing.
I was just dancing. It was a whole party full of men in cocktail dresses, so not exactly like Glee. And the women were also
more like Will and Grace.
Yeah, there was women too. They're all dressed up, but all the men were in black cocktail dresses. And then for whatever reason, I was like the one dude. The premise was I was the one dude that showed up in pants, and I began dancing. And the guys were like, "Wow, those pants look great. They don't bunch up or anything. I should have worn pants." And I was just dancing and having a good time. They were not having a good time. So and to work with Christopher Guest was, obviously once again one of those I can't believe I'm working with him.
And you booked this gig because you had such extensive training in dance.
That was my years at the Mark Taper Forum. No, I got that. I tried out for one of the.
Did you lie your way in?
No, I didn't lie.
All right.
I just BS'd my way through the dancing. I can do a lot of silly dancing. And I did my silly
like a Jerry Lewis kind of silly dance?
No, but I can throw people around and do it in a way that doesn't look good. I mean, as soon as I booked the role, they were like, "We're going to give you 20 hours of dance training," and so we choreographed this whole elaborate dance. So I looked all right, but we just kind of messed around, and I literally I said a lot, but I tried out for the guy in the black dress guy, and he just went with a stable of the actors he goes to a lot who were hilarious. Chris Moynihan was one of them.
Right.
Joel McHale was another one. What's his name? He's going to kill me. The bald guy.
Yeah.
I was on.
Tim.
No, I'm going to kill myself. I can't remember
Mike.
that. But anyway, tried out for the dance, and Chris was all right with it. So thank God. This one producer thought I could do it. So that really helped.
It doesn't hurt to have one fan.
I was
So
excited.
how if you don't, I guess you have an agent by the time you're auditioning for the suit.
I did not. I had a manager that I had a friend who was
Your high school
hip-pocketing-
friend who was a manager.
Yeah, who actually went to an agency, and he was hip pocketing me. He's just like, yeah, the agency was a big agency. It's the agency I'm with now.
There's
and,
a phrase, hip pocketing.
It's where an agent knows that he can't bring an actor in to be represented by the
But he'll
company,
throw you some-
but will throw you auditions.
Sammy, did you ever get hip pocketed?
Never.
Well, he could have been. He's the right size. And
Oh, I was waiting.
Wow.
See, now I'm flattered. I've
now
always hoped you
people
would joke
right
about
now
my
think that
size.
Kevin Pollak is throwing his voice. That's what's crazy.
But I'm not wearing a hat, Joel. That's how they tell us apart.
But your hairline is so low.
Yeah, it could be a hat.
I rock the Steve Harvey.
Jamie, what's happening in the chat room now that we have Wi-Fi back?
Oh.
We have a little thing on the show called the Tweet 5, where we like to bring our viewers into the action. And by viewers, I do mean many.
We do have a lot.
Yeah, we do.
How many do we have?
Way more than
I
normal.
joke about that. I'm seeing if anyone.
We had up to.
No. That's just the That's just the number. The actual big number is much bigger. We'll be close to probably.
We had about 602 live views at one point.
We'll have close to 50 or 60,000
Wow,
within the time span.
that's amazing.
Well,
That really is.
no, nobody watches anything live.
Oh, I'm so sorry we're not on E or NBC.
Well, apology accepted.
Sheesh.
So.
This one asking for, can I get some Perrier?
I didn't say Perrier. I said Pellegrino.
Can we do the
There
show
you
2 hours early, please? 'Cause I'm so
yeah.
special.
I have stuff to do. I have children.
Well, I couldn't go to the
Jamie, I told you, don't
You
fight
can't
with
watch
the
your
guest.
Steelers game.
How many times have I said, don't yell at the guest? Have I not made this clear? We have
That's awesome.
a rapid fire. It is awesome. I love the ball
Rapid
busting.
fire. We've almost got up to the point.
You
my
were
wife
tweeting. You were tweeting a version of this, this or that Coke or Pepsi kind of thing. What was it? We thought he was tweeting it.
Oh no, I was just tweeting what my last meal would be.
Yeah.
Because then I was like, what I was going to eat, and then whether it was going to be gas chamber or.
Because these are that kind of questions
Great.
that are personalized to you. This one comes to us from @CourtneyB.
Oh, she's great.
It is a tweet 5. Dave Keckner.
Hi, Dave.
He's a funny fucker.
Oh my gosh, he is funny, and incredibly cool.
Nice guy.
Nice. Yeah, he came on the soup and knocked it out of the park.
He came on here and talked about his wife's vagina for about 17 minutes.
I would like to talk about his wife's vagina for 17 minutes.
Okay.
Did he really?
Yes.
How was it positive?
Yeah.
I believe it was almost all positive.
Almost all positive.
No.
Abbott or Mankini? Mankini.
Mankini. Abbott or Mankini?
Uh-huh.
Well, Mankini.
Kathy Lee or Hoda?
Oof. Whoever is drunkest.
It'd be Kathy Lee. Pratt or Pavlika? Pavlika?
Jake Pavelka?
There we go.
Oof. That's a good one. I'm going to go with. I'm going to go. Who's a serial killer that's been released? No, Jake Pavelka. That's a good one. I can't. It's hard for me to. I'd have to get some a flak jacket, I think, first.
Annie or Britta?
Oh, who knows?
Skinny ties or striped briefs?
Skinny ties.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And no one can see the briefs.
Come on.
I mean, I guess I had striped briefs on in the show. Oh.
Actually, one of the questions that was coming in through the Twitter was something along the lines of,
Is he an albino?
why every time when Joel's character is stripped down to his skivvies, they're the same damn underwear every time?
They are not. They're the same brand.
Aha!
And that's all on purpose because my character is, obsessed with that stuff. So he has the, it's actually Paul Smith underwear. Because he's always been obsessed with, his
The monkey in his
appearance. And so that's all planned.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're actually different if you go back and look through the episodes. I'm sure you have a lot of time. Yeah.
All right.
But I don't watch them.
No.
Disgusting.
Before we get any further into the community, I want to know more about how the soup came about, because you're hip-pocketed.
Right.
And you go to this thing.
And it was a very long process to actually get the job. 'Cause
I would
thought,
think so.
Well, I thought, oh, they must be seeing everybody.
And comedians, stand-ups.
Yeah, I guess they were, but I guess it wasn't that the competition was so fierce. It was that E just takes their time with this stuff, and it was not a high priority. It was a pilot presentation, and there's a difference, folks. A pilot, a real pilot, gets money behind it. They gather writers. It all happens. This at E, they were like, well, let's do a version of Talk Soup, because Talk Soup had gone away in 2000.
Yeah,
it had been canceled.
gone for a couple of
It was
years.
and that's a daily show. It was a daily show, and it really covered talk shows, and talk shows all went away, except for Oprah, and who's about to go away. We're desperate. And so in 2004, they brought it back, and it was called the What the Awards, which was supposed to be like the What the Heck or the What the Hell Awards,
Oh,
or the
right.
Fuck Awards, but because you couldn't say that, it was a ... Which whenever you would say it's called the What the Awards, people go, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what are you saying? Like it sounded like a mess up. So that was the name of the pilot presentation. They saw how cheap it was going to be to make, because it's one camera.
Yeah.
And this is a bigger setup. This is a more elaborate setup than our pilot and the shows were for a while.
Right.
One camera and a green curtain. So it was basically glorified weather forecasting. And so that took place. We finally got on the air in April at 10 o'clock on Friday nights.
But the callback, how many times did you have to go in for this
I
thing?
went in 3 times.
Right.
So I went in for the first audition, then I went in for a callback, and then I had a meeting with, at that point, who was going to be creating it, or one of the creators and some of the writers, and they said, well, what's your idea of what this should be?
I was confused when I was reading through this. If they're bringing back the show, and it clearly is a version of the soup,
Talk Soup.
Were there legal problems of not calling it Talk Soup?
No, because they created Talk Soup.
So why couldn't they just...
Because they didn't want it to be the old
show that died.
They didn't want it to be a show that died. They didn't want it to be, at that point, they didn't want it to be a daily show. So it was just a one-time.
And it wasn't about talk shows either.
No, it was about everything.
Right.
So it was about, celebrity news and mostly reality shows.
So Ted, I'm never going to age Harbert, is one who came in and said, just call it the soup.
Ted said, call it the soup, and he really got behind it and has been our savior, because he's been so liberal with what we can say.
Yeah.
And he lets us make fun of E-shows, which I think that's unprecedented.
Yes.
That a network would just let you take out their own programming.
Religiously.
Every week. And in fact, they ask us to on stuff. So so that has been, without that, I don't think the show would have done, I think there would have been this weird gaping hole in there. We're like, aren't you going to make fun of Girls Next Door? Because there's some silly things. How are the Kardashians? You probably should. So he's been very good to us.
And Tyra's the only one you've heard from who really is not happy.
But then apparently she's changed her tune.
She took the high road finally?
Yeah, but without exception, every reality show star I've ever met has asked to be on the show after I've made fun of them. Right. Which just goes back to, I think, what's happened where people want to be famous for the sake of being famous. And so it doesn't matter how they get famous, they just want attention.
Oh my God, how many people do you meet, civilians, who you ask what, they...
Yeah,
I want to be famous.
That was
for doing what?
It was like 5 years ago when seniors in high school were asked what they want to be when they grow up, and the most popular answer was famous, or maybe it was 8 years ago or something. But that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, so what are you thinking? Acting,
Famous
serial
for
killing?
doing-
What are you gonna do?
Yeah, pretty wide.
Yeah, it's
Net we're throwing here.
it's very broad. So so that's been. No one's tried to swing at me yet.
I'm sensing that a lot of people thought you came from stand-up comedy who discovered you first on The Soup. If
Right.
that was the first time they ever saw you, because that was certainly my sense. Jamie has been a fan.
Sorry, she's watching the Steelers.
She's
game.
been a fan, and she records because
First of all, I wore this in support of my friend Jason because he's a big Steelers fan. I'm more of a hockey fan.
Yeah,
I just
right.
am from Pittsburgh and I support, but I do not follow them. So
No,
I
no,
don't
yeah.
wanna-
she lives for her Penguins.
And you've
I-
got the sweater too, and
I'm
it's all
gonna
very
punch-
well
I'm gonna-
matched.
Can I have permission to punch him?
Tell me about how long you've been recording The Soup.
I've been watching it since Kinnear.
No,
like
no,
I've,
the
was
current
that what you
version.
mean?
The current version with
current
the current
version?
host. You're the one who kind of turned me on because you record the damn thing every week. No?
Yeah, of course. But what do you mean? How long I've been doing it? I don't know. Years.
I've been with it since the What the Awards. I told you a couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
You guys are lying.
I'm not, sir.
Wow, thank God for you people. This is, see?
It lost me though those years where it was like they didn't know who the host was, and it was like Seacrest sometimes. And then
Well, that
House
was when it was
Sparks
all
and-
guest hosts. That was all
I
through the
didn't
late
like
90s.
that. They lost me then.
And then they got Aisha Tyler,
Tyler.
Yeah,
who
and
did
I
it
was
for a
still
while.
lost.
And
But then
yeah,
you brought me back. I will
thank
say
God
that.
for you.
I went from Henson to you.
Oh, wow, all right. I'm going to tell John that. Who now produces Wipeout.
Does he?
Whiteout. It's this new show about Whiteout. Like they bring back Whiteout. It's weird. Yeah. So that when we brought it back, it was on at 10 o'clock on a Friday night, which at that point was a desert, and no one was watching. And so once again,
But
I was in
luckily
this.
they repeat it like 60 times throughout the week.
They repeated. I think at one point it was 14. I think it's now 12.
Jesus, that's fantastic though.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's great. I mean, I don't.
No, it is great.
I don't have to do 2 shows a day or something. So.
No, it's great.
Yeah, but it was like we had a whole year of no one watching the show, so it was me trying to learn how to read a teleprompter and able to screw up a lot. It was great.
But everyone thought you came from stand-up who discovered you on the show.
Yeah.
So was it your agent? Who was it that said, you know what, maybe you ought to do stand-up?
My public appearance agent, Doug Edley. Well, then I got signed to that agency that was pickpocketing me, and Doug Edley was the personal appearance guy, and he began watching the show. He said, hey, if you go out with your friends who are comics and do like a soup show, you'll reach all your fans and you'll make a bag of money. So I was like, great.
Right.
And
You'll make more money than they're paying you to do the show.
yeah, at that point. But now it's Seacrestian dollars now. They just they just give you $10,000 bills. That's how he deals. So he doesn't.
I thought you had it in
around.
your contract that you have to make at least as much as Seacrest agent.
Yeah, no, I have to make 2% of what he makes.
Only
So,
2%?
Yeah, I make $60 million a year.
Wow.
No, he. I don't even know where I was going with it. But when there was no one. If you would see how I think the show costs something like $27,000 a week.
Sure.
Everybody all paid, every light bulb, which for television that's not even. I mean, that's crazily
crap
low.
service.
So it didn't matter how low our ratings were at that point. They were like, it's costing us nothing
Right.
comparatively. So when you look at the ad revenue.
So the personal appearance guy
Oh, so the personal appearance guy.
says put an act together.
Yeah, and so my friends who like people like Chris Hardwick,
Right.
who is an astoundingly good
One of
comic.
my favorite guests on this show.
So good.
So
and
funny.
So
Crazy.
funny. And so he would come to the show, and KP Anderson, who's the executive producer, head writer of The Soup, and then a myriad of other friends, a guy named Brooks Macbeth, and they would come and do these shows with me, and I would do 10 minutes of my material in between their acts, or 5 minutes, and I slowly built it together, and Doug just kept pushing me, and you're like, okay, now you're going to headline at this club for the weekend. I was like, make sure no one knows about it, and because it might be horrible. So that's how it slowly started.
Right.
And I, because there's enough Soup fans out there, I didn't do what other comics had to do, which was walk out on stage where nobody knew who they were, and really have to cut their teeth by traveling the country and driving around. And
Yeah, but I'll tell you what you step into is a self-made audience, but you get a pass from them for maybe the first 5 minutes.
yeah, you get that.
Beyond that, their expectations are
right,
higher.
they're paying money.
Not only that, but
That's true, I
they're
didn't think
seeing you
about
on TV being incredibly funny than maybe your act, which has only had a year and a half to mature
Yeah.
at that point.
It was the Fear Tour at that point.
I would think. I would think so, though.
Yeah, I headlined a theater in Pennsylvania. It was the first time I'd ever had a theater. I was having anxiety attacks about it. I was like, oh, these people, they're gonna kill me.
And I bet it went fine.
It went fine. Yes,
Right.
it was fine. It was one of those like, okay, I got through it.
Nobody asked for their money back.
Yeah, and then I would stay after the show and meet people because I'm like, I just feel so bad. I'm so new at this. I'll just say hi to you. All right. So.
Right. Well, they'll forgive. as
No,
long-
it was yes, and slowly as I've done it now, I don't know, 1,000 times, it has gotten hopefully better, because
Well, it better have gotten better. You just played Carnegie Hall.
yeah, boy, poor Carnegie Hall.
Don't worry about it.
Right.
Tracy Morgan's been there. I wouldn't.
Well,
I
no,
wouldn't
there was a
sweat it.
monster truck rally in there the next night. There was a motocross. It was pretty bad. Yeah, that was last week. That was mine. I couldn't believe I was there. I could not believe it was crazy.
So you started doing stand-up. Do you remember
I started doing it 2.5 years ago, almost 3 years ago.
So almost 3 years to Carnegie Hall.
Yeah. What a
How do you get
joke.
to Carnegie Hall? A little practice.
Yeah, you just need really basic cable show.
Well, listen, it's a hall, and it's about putting butts in the seats. And
Yeah.
then whether the audience walks away with it with great word of mouth or not is on you. That's where the real
Yeah.
pressure is.
Yeah.
You can fill the seats because you're famous now. But you better deliver once those seats
Yeah,
are
you
filled.
better. Yeah, you better.
And your take on it when we talked on the phone was, I got through it. I
was like, I counted it as a win that I did not go like, and then burst out crying. No, I was once I kind of got out there and danced around and kind of got rid of the nerves. Then I was actually then I had a terrific time. Then I was very happy and it was thrilling. So
Do you like to know ahead of time when people you know come to see you?
yes.
You want to know ahead of time?
Yeah, there was always that. It was like, oh, don't tell. I always people like, don't tell me who's out there. I'm like, no, tell me everyone who's out there, because it'll only hopefully get. It's going to be worse because someone more important will be in the audience watching you. So it might as well be everybody. You might as well just tell me everybody so I can adapt to those stakes. So.
But when our pal Steve Martin,
Steve, we did a little movie with Steve Martin this year called The Big Year.
Yeah.
Kevin and I did.
all of our scenes are with Steve Martin.
I couldn't believe it.
I know, ridiculous.
We both couldn't believe it.
I still love that photo that the three of us took.
Yes.
No one is smiling.
I showed him that photo and he was like, oh yeah.
That's a terrible impression.
Yeah, no, he came and he brought Joyce Carol Oates with him.
Of course.
And I was just like, yes, this is exactly who I thought. It was like the scene in Talladega Nights when Will Ferrell goes over to Sacha Baron Cohen's character's house and Mos Def and Elvis Costello are just sitting there.
Yeah.
I just love that scene. There's like no reason they're there. It was perfect.
Yeah.
So this is Joyce Carol Oates and I'm like, I was emailing Steve and I was like, hope she likes Snooki jokes. And then like her boyfriend, whose name was Rich, I think it was boyfriend, but his name was actually Mitch.
Sure.
He's like the president of a university. I was like, Mitch. He's like, Rich. And I'm like, I'm sorry. So yeah, that was like, the fact that he was there. The father of modern day.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Stand-up comedy.
When one of the members of the Mount Rushmore of comedy, you know ahead of time, is in the audience, does that inspire you or the opposite?
It's both. It's like it's inspiring and it causes diarrhea. Mm-hmm. No, but he's as you know, he's such a good guy.
Yes.
That he's
He
so
didn't come
kind
to
of
judge.
No, he's just so disarmingly cool.
Yeah.
And that I was just happy. Couldn't believe it. Glad he came and.
And what about sharing the stage with other extremely well-known comedians? We both, you performed at the New York show for the Night of Too Many Stars.
Yeah.
I was at a phone bank in Los Angeles during the live broadcast.
Oh yeah.
But I noticed when I watched it later that you had to share the stage with pretty much the who's who of who's kicking ass these days: the Chris Rock, Jim Gaffigan,
And
Jon
Chris
Stewart.
Rock, boy, he was funny. And Lewis, I mean, those guys killed it. I mean, Lewis Black killed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sarah Silverman. So you go out there.
I just feel like, I'm stealing. I'm getting away with murder. That's how I feel like when I walk out there.
But I thought it went well.
It was all right.
Yeah.
I was like, it was all right. I wasn't too happy. It was good and fine. I was glad to obviously be very happy to be a part of the charity because it's for autism.
Well, duh.
I mean, that was just to be asked to be a part of it I was thrilled. So, I was, when you're a comic and you're like, it was pretty good. It was all right.
Well, no, you should stay, but it needs to stay that way.
Yeah.
You don't want to. We don't want to be the other guy.
Yeah, I just did a show for soldiers that were injured. It was the Woodruff Foundation, and like Tony Bennett performed, and then it was Springsteen performing, and then there was a mini auction of his guitar, which went for $140,000.
And then you.
And then they brought me out, and I was like,
The monkey.
thank God.
And you peeled a banana.
Yeah, I was just like, sorry that I am not your hero, Bruce Springsteen.
Oh yeah, well,
But I was like, well, who else could have come? It was like, yeah.
that's probably gave you the first opening 5 minutes.
Yes,
though.
it gave me a lot of opening material.
Yeah,
So I'm going to sing Glory Days now.
I
for
like-
you, just so.
I like all that.
Oy. And Tony Bennett. Tony Bennett.
Oh my God.
He's an older man, really old, but
Yeah.
gosh, he delivers it.
But he's not frail at all.
not at all.
And he's got to be 107.
How? Anybody know how old he is?
He's 80s.
Let's go to the phone.
He's in his 80s. So okay. Sorry. I'm sorry that I brought the chat show to a screaming halt.
Nope, don't be silly. I just like to involve the audience because they're still with us. At Martha Pollak_S, one of our favorites.
She's still in Indonesia, by the way. She
Still in
sent us-
Indonesia.
yeah.
You're kidding.
Watching live from Indonesia.
When will she get her visa?
She's on the Obama tour.
No, she's like a super genius. She's getting like her 80th master's degree over there or something.
See,
She's
your
awesome.
audience is educated, Mr. Pollak.
T5. Thank you, Dave. Speaking of genius, Yo Gabba
He's good.
Gabba or Phineas and Ferb?
I'm gonna have to go with Phineas and Ferb.
Kiss Snooki or Tia Tequila?
Tila
Tila tequila.
I'm not a fan. I could care fucking less.
I'd have to use a dental
Everyone's
dam.
snickering at
dental
me.
dam
Forgive
on
me for
both
not
of them.
knowing the worthless reality show star.
No, they're just some of the biggest. Yeah, dental dam.
Good. Good answer. More fun to shoot paintball episode or zombie episode?
Ooh,
Gotta go
well, paintball because we were shooting guns.
Yeah, you were.
That was really fun. But zombie, ooh, that was. I got to throw a soccer ball at a guy's head as hard as I could. They're like, you got to look like you're throwing it hard. The guy said, throw it as hard as you want. I'm like, all right. And they didn't show. They had a shot of it. Well, I mean, I wound up and just let it out. And that guy, I nailed that guy in the head.
Dodgeball fantasy?
Yeah, it was great. Someone paid me to throw a ball at someone's head, and with paintball. Oh my gosh, it was great.
Chris Hardwick, Rich Summer.
Wait.
Bigger nerd was the question. Chris Hardwick or Rich Summer?
Bigger? Well, neither.
Chris
claims
is
to be the biggest
proud-
nerd of
yeah.
all time. But Chris is a really good-looking guy, and he's dressed really hipply and all that. So, and Rich has, and I'm not joking, over 250 board games in his home.
So he wins.
So he kind
He's
of
the
wins
game
just
nerd.
because he has,
Yeah.
like if you walk into Chris's house, there will be electronic gadgets that have been mailed to him from companies that were like, if you can figure this out, then we'll give it to you.
We can't seem to sell them.
I mean,
because we don't know how they
right.
work.
We don't know what they do. We know it's great, whatever it is, and it's important, and people like you know how to. So that's I mean, so in that sense, that makes in my mind, I'm like, Chris, it's so cool, and he knows all about video games, which I love. So but like Rich having like I was like Rich has 250 board games or more, which to me I'm like, and I said to Rich, I was like, that doesn't even make you a nerd anymore. That makes you some sort of a hoarder. Or,
He's the cat lady.
He's a savant. But then Rich has an entire, like, because I don't know it was from Mad Men, but he has a whole bar with very old, like all this stuff that you make, these drinks that no longer are made anymore. So that makes him the coolest guy around because you're like, I would like a whistling Dixie julep top.
So he's
And-
literally Martin and Lewis in one person.
Yes, basically. Yeah. So in my mind, they're the coolest people ever. They're cooler than Bono.
I agree with him though. The Chris Hardwick thing. It's like I hate these, especially girls, these hot chicks that are like, "I'm a geek." You can't be hot and be a geek. You have to be one or the other.
Yeah.
You can't be posing in Maxim in your underwear and then be like, "I'm a geek."
Right.
You couldn't
can't.
possibly
You know.
be talking
No.
about Olivia Munn, could you?
Whoever.
And if they put on,
one
if
of
they
them.
put on the big black framed glasses, that still doesn't make you a nerd because
And
you're
by the
still
way, I
entirely
need those
hot.
glasses because I can't see.
Yeah, that's
don't
one of
just
your
wear them
biggest
to be
things is the
ironic.
fake glasses. That really
Yeah.
makes you nuts.
My prescription is -7.
You are
-7.
blind. I do not want to drive with you.
I wouldn't want to drive.
I've done this before.
Yeah,
and she
so
didn't
I,
see it.
I don't. I think they're equally.
Yeah,
Their claim of being nerds makes them that much cooler.
they're beautiful nerds. And then lastly, more in love with herself, Oprah or Tyra? Ooh. That's a toss-up. There's no
Wow.
incorrect answer, my friend.
Tyra.
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
impossible
Tyra.
to mess that up.
Because if I say Oprah, a sniper will shoot me. I'll just be like, But did you see Oprah's show last week? When she had on like Donahue and Sally Jesse Raphael and Montel, she had all
No, she
Ricky
didn't.
Lake. She had all the
Everyone
old
she
hosts.
crushed?
When everyone, and literally she goes, well, literally said, we've been #1 for the last 25 years.
oh my God, what's the matter with
And
her?
now one of you has to die.
Yeah, it's Agatha Christie's
Figure
Oprah
it out.
Winfrey.
I'll be back in 10 minutes. It becomes a Saw movie.
Now, that reminds me, in the beginning of your experience on The Soup, you were part of the shorthanded Fives member staff who were watching all
Yes.
nonstop television.
Non-stop.
And then
We had 5 people, yeah.
yeah, and so you were writing a lot of the material
Yep.
as well, participating
Yep.
along with the others.
Yeah, we would sit and get in front of a computer and with a blank screen, we'd just start writing the show and we'd all sit there and just write it until we were done. And and pretend decide. I mean, that was when it was, in the first few months. It was crazy.
The $27,000 version.
Yeah, that was when. We were like, can we get dinner? Bring in dinner, and people were like, okay, sure. There's a kookaroo across the street.
Enjoy.
How hard is that?
Yeah.
So that was when, and I was watching so much television. I always had an opinion about television, but I remember on Sunday nights I would just have like 8 hours of show to get through, and I'd be like, and I usually end with extreme makeover extreme
Let's
makeover
hope.
home edition is the last one because that was on Sunday nights. The 2-hour version, I was just like, I'm going to slit my wrist.
Yeah, see, I just
it was a
assumed-
great uplifting show, but
Yeah, of course.
after that much television, it was brutal.
I just assumed when I first saw you on the show that, you were just some jag-off reading the teleprompter.
Agreed.
I didn't realize you
That's
were-
what actually the first name of it was.
The
Jag-off reading the teleprompter, which I would kind of like now.
I like that better than the what the
Did you guys see Jag-off reading the teleprompter last week? It was so great. He was such a Jag-off. And he read the teleprompter. It was hilarious.
That's the name of your second book.
Yeah.
Come on.
That was remember when Monty Python was started, the working title was Sex and Violence.
Oh, I didn't
Because
know
the BBC people were like, well, just don't do, just stay away from all the sex and violence. And then they were going to call it Sex and Violence. It was so great.
Oh, that's genius. So you studied them as well as a kid?
I memorized many a Monty Python sketch.
Favorite cast member?
John Cleese, Michael Palin, those guys.
Yeah.
Either way. But then it's hard to have a favorite one.
I know.
Because then Graham Chapman was such a perfect lead in their movies.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I got to meet John Cleese, and I could hardly talk.
Under what auspices?
My friend directed him in a movie, and I went to his birthday.
Shut up.
And I went to his birthday, and I walked in, he was sitting at a table, and he had a huge flamingo hat on, like a full head, and I was just like, this is exactly my dream! My dream! This is exactly what I thought it would be like! You'd walk into a room, and John Cleese would be wearing a flamingo hat, of course! Perfect! Yeah, I'm sure he doesn't remember it, but I was, I just wanted to, like, when I went to go ask him questions, I'd be like, what?
Nice.
I just walk away. I'm like, I can't remember. That was thrilling. That was, yeah. So, but I took the soup because I asked all my actor friends, I was like, should I do this thing where I'm hosting and making fun of? They're like, no, you shouldn't.
Idiots.
Are you crazy? But then because of what Kinnear did, I was like, okay, if I can just get into some of those audition rooms, then I would, because I couldn't get auditions. I couldn't get
It's
anything.
about upping your profile, first of all.
Yeah.
And it's also, by the way, maybe some of your actor friends didn't know that you had this natural gift. It was crystal clear the moment anyone saw you do this show that there was no effort going on. You know what I
Wow.
mean? Other than the reading part.
That was, believe me.
There was no effort.
Talk to anybody at Ian how hard.
No,
how
but
bad I
you've
sucked at
clearly been a bit of a
teleprompter.
smart ass your whole life.
Yes,
I
that
mean,
is
come
very
on. So
Nah, I was a smart ass.
the show is written for a smart ass.
That is true. Yeah, I've always been over opinionated about almost everything. And then I realized that I was one of those guys that would get into arguments about like, listen, there's no way the Rolling Stones, I was one of those guys, and so I'm like, I just need to ease off. And this was like
Ooh,
perfect.
I want to see
way-
him and Rotman in a fight.
Right?
Rotman has his strong opinions.
How are
too.
you on 90s hair bands? Knowledge-wise.
Knowledge meaning most of them were awful.
That is the correct
That's
answer.
correct.
Well,
Yes.
80s big hair bands, yes. And I grew up in Seattle, so when grunge showed up and crushed them all, it was pretty.
celebration?
It was like disco being destroyed again. So it was a celebration.
So you were living in Seattle when the grunge was born,
Yeah,
and was there a
I was
sense?
in high school when Nevermind was released.
And what was the temperature in the city? I have literally no idea. Never actually met someone who was living there at the time because there was a homegrown aspect to.
Yes, well, there was so much original music happening in Seattle, and that was partly because
But they were like, if you're going to have 100 great local bands,
Right.
really great, and then one literally explodes.
or three,
Or three in the case. But,
Nirvana, Pearl Jam, and Soundgarden
right. So leader of the pack initially.
is Nirvana.
Nirvana, yeah.
And then Pearl Jam eventually, I think, surpassed them. I mean, obviously, as far as popularity.
Sure.
But Nirvana still was kind of the...
That's the first breakthrough, though.
Yeah, that was the one where, when Smells Like Teen Spirit came out, I mean, Nirvana's probably, it's one of my favorites of all time. That was it was crazy.
Right.
It was, yeah. It
Was there a sense of home pride? Was there? A
Oh
sense
yeah.
of,
Oh yeah. I mean, it was like we've got Boeing and Starbucks and Microsoft that was when Starbucks had like we've got 12 locations and so it was one of those things where like we're gonna take the world over and
If it just stopped raining.
yeah, the thing like no big bands would ever come through Seattle because the Kingdom was no place to play music. I saw McCartney there, and it was like
You're still hearing the echo?
Yes, it was just bouncing off everything. And then the Tacoma Dome was a good size venue, but big bands would always just go to BC Place. They would go San Francisco, then right up to BC, and so they would never come through really. And so Seattle was just like, we'll make it. They made it their own, and there always happened to be this big, huge music scene. There's a couple documentaries. One called Hype that really tracks how it went and the rise and the fall. And there's also a great documentary called Nirvana Live Sold Out Tonight, which shows you that band and what happened, and going from guys how innovative, and they didn't think it was innovative, walking out on stage wearing a flannel shirt that was never planned, like this is going to be our look or anything, like Lady Gaga or something, and it was just that they didn't happen to be covered in makeup and their hair wasn't teased up. And then there was this great shot in Hype of going down an escalator in a Macy's, and the whole floor is plaid.
Holy fuck.
This is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a crazy time. It was good times.
Yeah. Well, I just assumed that there was this home pride.
Yes.
I was back to San Francisco by the time I was in my 20s, and Bill Graham, the great concert promoter, was still running every music venue in town.
Right.
And there was an unbelievable sense of history there from, well, just pick any band, but the type of music that came from a city.
Yeah.
You latch on to whether it's Journey or Carlos Santana or Grace Slick or whoever.
Haight Ashbury. I mean, just that one street.
Right. So that's why I'm wondering if Seattle had that, and it's nice to know.
Oh yeah, they still have great pride, and there still is an incredible music scene there.
What was the first big venue you went back and played in Seattle? Did that happen?
I went to the Moore Theater, and I have actually not been back. I have plans to go back, but I still have not. But here's the problem.
Yeah, what is
here's
the problem?
Here's the problem, family.
What is the problem?
Is that when I booked the Moore Theater, I did that like, I think I did 4 shows? 3 shows? I don't remember. But it was over a couple nights, and it was like planning 4 weddings.
This is why I started out with Dana Carvey a million years ago, and he will not play our hometown of San Francisco because of this reason. It is scheduling a wedding reception worth of tickets and seats.
You need a planner. You need someone who, because you spend the entire time on the phone coordinating your family and friends' tickets, and then you inevitably are expected to throw a party. I was getting phone calls up to the moment I was one person called me and asked me where to park. And
yes!
And so then
Who was it,
like,
Elaine's
there's no parking here. What am I supposed to do?
Elaine's brother, John?
We probably shouldn't bring this up. She's very embarrassed.
Oh,
who cares?
I love John. But
no one's going to know.
No, she's in the chat room, I'm sure.
Oh, great. But so you know. And people were like, so will my tickets be at will call? No, there is a chalk artist on the
texting
street.
as you're walking out on the stage.
And he is writing your ticket. They're going to jackhammer that piece of concrete out and hand it to you. That will be your ticket. I was like, will they be? And then they'd be like, okay, I got my tickets. What do I do? Is there a teleporter? How do I get to my seat?
Is there a front door?
And there was people, like there was this really, this balcony, and people were upset they were in the balcony and not on the floor. It became a horrible mess.
Yeah, try to enjoy yourself on stage.
Yeah, and there was I got 10 minutes of material just about the management of those shows. And it was, so I will go back at some point, but I won't speak to anyone.
Maybe I will. Kevin Off MI wants to know, does Dan Harmon have a plan for Greendale Community College to offer post-grad degree if show lasts more than 4 years? Well, when you get picked up for the second year, by the way, NBC sent you to the Olympics prior to the official pickup. That had to have been a good sign.
That was a good sign.
I mean, as far as signs go.
Yeah.
You're probably thinking, why would they
do
this?
We got picked up for, we got our first 9 or whatever. Then they picked us up for the 22.
Right.
And then they added 3 more last year. So we did 25. So we knew that we were doing okay.
And I thought I read recently where you got extra episodes this year already.
They just added 2 more episodes.
Right.
So thank God. Thank God. So I don't what Dan has said to me. They were like, he's like, oh, don't worry about
The
it.
show's creator.
Dan Harmon, who is a mad genius, and yes, I would follow that guy into any battle.
You got the two knuckleheads from Arrested Development too, though, right?
Yeah, the Russo brothers,
Right.
executive producers and directors who did Arrested Development. So when that's like a dream team,
Geniuses.
and I would follow them into any comedy battle. Any
Well, you
TV
should.
battle.
You
And,
should.
Dan. And as far as like I've been asked that question a couple times, and Dan goes, he's not even worried. He's got a plan.
Not only
Dan
that,
was always like 12 steps ahead of everybody.
because it's basically night school.
Well, it's day school. There is actually an episode, and this week is about night school.
Right.
And there's this actor, incredibly funny, named Kevin Corrigan, who was in
Oh, I
Goodfellas.
love Kevin Corrigan, yeah.
He's plays this night professor, and it's amazing. He is hilarious, and so wonderfully peculiar in his performance.
Forgive me, I didn't mean night school. I meant a form of college that
Yes.
that isn't of the 4-year program.
Yes, it
I
is.
mean, a lot of people go to community college for just 2 years before they go on to serious
Right.
university.
Or they stay for 12.
Or they stay for 12 is my point, and that's what I guess why I was thinking night school, which is
Yeah.
the hours and the days and the years you end up spending there have nothing to do with university as we know it.
Right.
So this 4-year plan is kind of a moot.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought in the first
Concerned.
year and a half that we'd be turned into zombies, the school would be turned upside down into a post-apocalyptic paintball war, and there's a monkey stealing, a monkey thief.
I think Sam predicted all of that. Didn't you?
I did.
That's impossible, Sam.
No,
How did you
I'm
do that?
very good at powers of prediction. When is the IT crowd coming back?
The American version? It is coming back.
Is it really?
They are remaking it again.
And here I thought I was getting a jab in.
No, it's coming back again. They have rebought it. Well, it's being aired right now on IFC, but they have rebought the franchise, and I think they're trying to recreate it. We came out. I made the IT crowd with the incredible Richard Ayoade, who plays Moss. He's the guy with the big hair and the glasses. I know you know exactly what I'm talking about. But he is now, he does the British version. He came over to the American version. And it was really, and it got picked up and then canceled before we ever got on the air, which was awesome. And
Been there, done that.
and now he's a director, and he just directed this movie called Submarine, which is supposed to be amazing. And we hopefully are going to get him to direct a Community.
You did, it was a British hit, was it not, the IT
Yes,
crowd?
it still is.
Right. So you get an opportunity to be in the American version.
Yep.
And you're thinking, well, these other shows, these British shows that come over here and kick ass, this is going to be great. The show gets picked up. And then how prior to going on the air?
We were casting. We had to recast one of the roles, and that was I was in recasting.
You're reading
And
with
then-
other people.
Yeah, reading with other people, and to replace myself. And
Always fun.
it was horrible. Paul Bettany, what are you doing here?
Yeah, how often does that happen?
I wish it happened more. I used to at red carpets, people would take my picture and they'd be like, "Who are you?" And then I always would go, "Matthew Lillard." And then I would go to like Wire Image, and there would always be a number of pictures of me on Matthew Lillard's place. They've removed them now, but I was like, "Yes, it's working." Or I would say Paul Bettany, and they would often put me in like they'd be like, "Jennifer Connelly's husband, Paul
Yeah, I
Bettany,
was
was
gonna
seen
say.
at this screening." And
You yelled out his name just long enough to be able to sleep with Jennifer, and then you said, no.
Yes. No.
No.
Yeah. But how the heck do I don't know. Yeah, so the British version, yes.
And then it's yanked.
Then it's yanked, and
Prior to
there was
going
a
on.
regime change at NBC, and the new regime did not want it. And ironically, that regime hired me to do Community. So I love that. I love that regime. I like the new regime. I like all the regimes,
Well,
as long as they like me.
was was any of the process on the Community? Was there any concern? Well, that's the smart ass from the soup. We need a leading man who's an actor.
Yes, I think there was deep concern. I'm still concerned about it. But you do know. I think because of, I don't know. Well, thank you. Thank God they saw. They didn't. A lot of the time here, people are like, well, he can't do that because he's doing this. It's impossible.
That's all they do here.
Yeah,
That's all
because
they do.
It's impossible. But
Yeah.
but I think because of the Kinnear thing, and because of the Informant, the Soderbergh movie,
Yeah.
and because of the IT crowd, and I booked a different pilot called Giants of Radio, that they saw my performances in those and thought, okay, he's not going to completely screw this up.
Is that an agent pushing just to get you in the door, or is that an easy? Oh yeah, the guy from the Soup, bring him in.
I think there's a lot of different.
Depends on who you talk to.
Yeah, I think it depends on who it is. I'm sure there was a lot that would be like, who? Yeah, right. But Dan Harmon's girlfriend, Erin, God bless her, she watched The Soup and said, that is the smartass you're looking for. And then he began watching it, and then that's when they brought me in after that.
Do you send her a check?
We've taken them to dinner, and I will take them. I'll be like, where are we going? We're going to go to Stockholm? Great, let's fly there. No, but she really was great.
It's amazing. It does literally, I tell people this all the time, it literally takes one champion to change your life.
It does.
Just one.
Yeah.
Just, it has to be the right champion, but it just takes one.
Right. And mine is Bruce Jenner.
I would.
Yeah, so and that's how it all came together. And it was, as you know, or maybe you don't, but there's 1,000 pilots made every year. And we were just,
80% failure rate, or that just don't get picked up.
Yeah, I wonder what the percentage actually get to your second season. I remember reading that. I was like,
less than 5.
Yeah, it's like going up Everest without oxygen. It's
there's
winning
so many
the lottery
different
factors. Yeah,
at this point,
so
between
many
the time
factors.
slot and everything else, and the temperature at the network, and oh my God.
Yeah.
In fact, it's just will always be crazy easy to not get picked up versus making.
Yes.
At
easier to say.
Kenny Rat.
Kenny
and
Rat.
then we're gonna gear up, sir.
At Kenny Rat.
At Kenny Rat on your Twitter wants to know on Talk Soup. You do many
We did
imitations.
Kenny Rat on Talk Soup, so that means Kenny is he's past 35 and could be as old as 60.
You do many imitations of the clips. What do you think is your best impression?
I've been told RuPaul of RuPaul's Drag Race. She loves that. Of course, you love that show. When I've
do
done
you want
that.
to start again, Mikhail? I'm at it with
Bring
you.
it. I'm still upset about the Super Bowl, but Seattle versus Pittsburgh still.
Yeah, I sensed that. It didn't dawn on me.
Listen, people, whenever I bring that up, Pittsburgh, and Pittsburgh, sure, they're like, oh, okay, sore loser. The ref apologized. Literally apologized. He said he had never felt more bad about something in his life.
She cares less about the Steelers than I do.
I do that for this.
And I like that. I like the Steelers. But anyway, I'll stop. But what were we talking about? Oh, RuPaul. Yeah.
How do you not
RuPaul's
go for
Drag
the
Race.
RuPaul the Steelers? I think that's a natural.
But it wasn't like, I think it's because you show a clip and when you immediately imitate something, it's it's not like people are like, I hear you, RuPaul's terrific.
Right.
And people are like,
You open the show.
it's not
with
like
it.
you doing,
when you perform
your
in a theater.
walker.
You open a show. You open your show regularly though with your RuPaul, don't you?
Oh, I'm in full drag.
You don't do any impersonations in your act.
No, I do your act. No, I impersonate my mom and my mother-in-law, so that's about as far as it goes.
And
That's why when we were shooting The Big Year with Steve Martin,
Yes.
David Frankel, when you would go into your impressions, Steve and I would just be like, "Wow, that's incredible."
No.
And then you see someone like Bill Hader do stuff, and you're just like, "What?
He's a sick, nutty genius.
It's crazy how good he is."
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. And then that new guy, we were just talking about him.
Jay Farrow.
Jay
Yeah,
Farrow.
Jay Farrow.
Jay
And
Farrow.
you know who Donald Glover, who plays Troy,
He apparently.
the most dead-on Obama you've ever seen in your life. It is incredible. Like I can't believe it. And then he also does Macy Gray. Which is
Genius.
as funny as
But
I've
he's
ever
been a
seen.
stand-up for a while, this kid.
He's an
Because I saw he
improviser.
was coming into the San
Yeah.
Jose Improv.
He's an improv guy.
after
No, well, not really.
No?
He
Sketch?
he was offered a writing job on 30 Rock when he was in college.
That's
at
right.
NYU, and so he would write to that. So he wasn't like one of those guys that was hitting the pavement. I don't think.
Well, then he
unless I'm
wised up
wrong.
like you, and somebody told him to put an act together. Because I saw him on a big
Yeah,
poster.
well now he opened. He was part of the show at Carnegie.
Oh,
and
nice.
Just set the place on fire.
And did he pass you like follow that motherfucker?
I held him and we kissed on the lips. And I'm not kidding.
Let's go to the phones.
That was twittered. It was great. If I could just, I can be able to tell my kids that.
Assuming you're enjoying yourself on the Twitter, there is another game that we like to play here on the show.
Called.
It's called
Who tweeted?
Graphic.
Roll the intro.
Who tweeted with
We're
Sammy?
in for it now.
Sammy, you going to be on? Oh, great.
Am I going to be on what? Am I going to be on camera with you? Yes, I am.
Sure.
Yeah, here
Why
I
don't
am.
you?
In my sweater vest.
You're already seated. Perfect.
You're standing. No.
All right.
I've always now Seacrest is a little taller than me, so Jesus, man.
I know. I don't.
Let me have
It's
it.
too easy. It's too easy.
It's too easy. You're a giant, though. It's not fair.
A 6'4" is taller than usual, I admit. What are you? 4'11"?
On a good day.
Okay. Yeah, when I walked in, I thought, oh my gosh, The Hobbit, the new version. I'm sorry.
I should only be so lucky to have the Hobbit money.
No, sorry.
I had a woman ask me once on an airplane if I was a jockey professionally,
Bought
and
her a
she was
drink?
dead serious.
Out of nowhere, just said that.
Out of nowhere, because
you were like-
I'd slept the whole flight, and she was like, "You seem so comfortable over there. Are you like a jockey?"
What does that
Like-
even?
That doesn't make any sense. And you're like, oh no, are you a prostitute? Yeah, that's what I thought you were.
Did you punch her in the vagina?
I tried.
No, it was the knee.
But with these little fists, I can't do anything.
All right. How's
All
the
right,
game
here we
work,
go.
Sammy.
Who tweeted? So I'm going to read a couple of tweets, and
Okay.
you're going to tell me who they were authored by. Here are your choices. You ready?
All right.
You're familiar with all three of these gals. Tyra, Paris, or Demi.
All right.
How do you feel about that? So it'll be a series of 8 tweets. I will read the tweet, and then you buzz in
Okay.
by saying your own name, and I'll point to you. You've got 3 seconds to tell me Tyra, Paris, or Demi.
Okay, great.
You ring and you get it right, you get 5 points. You ring and you get it wrong, you lose 3. And we're not playing for shigs.
Whoa,
US dollars
That's
around.
soup
Wow.
money. That's soup
That
money.
is soup lunch money for the entire staff.
It's the dancing Andrew Jackson.
All right.
Mankini can eat for weeks.
Great, it's moving quietly.
That's the
moving.
dancing Andrew Jackson.
Wow, look at that.
He does the moonwalk. Come on.
Look at that.
You haven't seen
All right.
Andrew
It
Jackson do the
gravitates
moonwalk?
towards Jews.
All right, do it.
Tweet number 1.
Go.
On our way to the airport, such a short trip, but had fun and got a lot of business taken care of. Flying back home, miss my pet so much.
Let's do Paris.
That is correct, sir. Out to a strong 5-point lead. Tweet number 2. I think you got some competition, Capo. Tweet number 2. At the airport newsstand, I got OMAG, Fast Company, Time, Forbes, and Psychology Today.
You're supposed to say
Demi.
your name when you ring in, by the way.
Demi. Joel. Demi.
Incorrect.
Yeah.
That was Tyra.
Great.
Started off with OMAG.
Oh yeah.
You trying to give a hint?
I'm just saying.
I'm just gonna not let him answer, and eventually I will win.
No, you lose 3.
That's true. Okay.
All right. Tweet number 3. It's getting interesting. Want to travel by bus for rates from $1? Just heard about at Megabus and love that they're committed to greener travel.
Kevin to me.
That is correct.
Nicely done.
Taking the lead.
Yeah.
Number 4.
Okay.
Just finished sequel to Hunger Games book called Catching Fire. So good. You should get both.
I'm gonna go Tyra.
That is correct,
Wow.
sir. Shockingly. I did
Back
not
in the
know. Did not know she could read.
Oh.
Wow.
No.
She got all those magazines.
Oh, well, I think she just likes the pictures.
Okay.
Tweet number 5. Did you vote yesterday? I sure did. It's so important to me.
Paris.
I'm afraid not, sir.
No, I know who it is. Dang it.
Who is it?
It's Demi.
It's Tyra.
Oh.
She doesn't know how to read, but she
Minus
can
3.
vote.
I'm just gonna keep on. I'm gonna ruin my own score. Now you're back in the lead.
No, you're +4.
I'm plus 1. Oh, great. Okay.
I'm up by 1.
Up by 1. Anyone's game. Getting down to the wire. Tweet number 6. Happy Veterans Day. This is a day where we honor all the veterans, apostrophe S. Thank you for all your service to our country. We love you.
Kevin to me.
Oh, sorry, no.
Yes.
Paris.
Back in the lead.
Paris.
You know who's Paris?
Well, I gave you a hint with
All
the
right, this is the last
apostrophe
one,
S.
right?
Oh, I
last
see. We love you is I've had sex with most of you.
Oh,
Oh, why?
Fair enough. This is the penultimate.
this is it.
Wait,
Penultimate.
that's 6.
Yeah, well, this is penultimate,
Right, penalty.
as opposed to the ultimate.
Okay. Jeez.
I'm wearing a sweater vest. I'm allowed to be extra nerdy today.
Thank you.
Tweet number 7. Wonderful to share a cup of tea with you today at Queen Rania. Queen Rania.
Oh.
Hope to see you in Jordan.
Kevin to me.
That's correct.
Yeah.
Oh, this is very exciting.
What's the score now?
It is 4-7. So it really is. It's anyone's game.
The last question.
Last question.
Anything can happen. You feel it?
Crazy. I'm feeling it. This is exciting.
This is very exciting.
The money
Dance.
really just, money's trying to get into my pocket.
It
That's what's
really
crazy.
is.
This is a tough one. Number 8. Going through all my closets, pulling out clothes to donate. Quite the workout.
All my clothes to donate.
Tyra Banks.
Ooh!
You were just waiting for me to, because you knew it was like, you didn't know, so you're like, well, if the answer's 1.
That would be Paris Hilton.
Yeah.
And that
Is
is how you begrudgingly play a Twitter
It's a good game. It's a good game. I
Right?
like
Who
that.
tweeted?
Yeah.
called
Not a bad
Who
idea.
Tweeted.
I like it.
Your winner and still champion, Kevin Pollak. Nice job, sir.
Sam Levine, ladies and
Well
Jews,
done.
bring
You'll
those
get it
paws
next time,
together.
Joel. You'll get it
Next time. Someone was clapping out
So
there.
who tweeted? It's not a
See,
bad
I
game.
can't
That's a good
do that
game,
if I'm
right?
tall.
I would say, yeah. I was going to say Gary Busey at one point, but
I want to know, you were so good, not kidding in any way, shape, or form in the Soderbergh film, The Informant, which I
Thank you.
thought was painfully overlooked at awards time. Not necessarily at all for your work, but the film itself.
Matt Damon should have been nominated.
He was
for his performance.
unfucking believable.
Yeah. Here's what was crazy is that at the premiere, the actual guy, Mark Whitaker, who he was playing, came to the.
Because he walks among us?
He walks among. He lives in Florida and is the president of a company now.
Shut the.
And Matt had never met him, or anything. I just saw pictures, and the similarities to what he portrayed to actually how he was in real life were crazy. They were so close.
So Damon is so brilliant now he can channel. He doesn't even have to meet the
just
people
kinda just
anymore.
goes, I got it.
What was your research? I had a dream.
Yeah, and then he went. The movie he did after that was the Invictus one.
Right.
So he went from being overweight, schlubby guy to
Ripped in 4 weeks.
ripped and ripping people's heads off.
Speaking of rip, 500 push-ups a day? Really?
When I know that I'm going to be naked on camera, then I
still
stop
tell-
eating,
I
and then I
still
just
tell
start.
people-
I hit the floor and I do push-ups all day long. I'm not kidding. When I wake up, I'll just start. When I know that I have to display skin, yeah, then I have to hit the floor.
I can't remember who I was talking about being ripped on the set of The Big Year. When, by the way, I've lost 10 pounds since I saw you last.
Look, it's
I was at-
not great if you have to point it out.
I was at my.
I can't see it.
You don't have to live with him. He's a monster. First of all he eats is Cliff Bars and nuts. It drives me crazy. It's like eat a real meal for once. And then he's just a bear. Like if he doesn't eat, he's like, I ate everything.
What the
Rawr!"
fuck are you talking about?
You sound terrible to live with. You sound awful.
It's this too.
You're like, honey, you want to go to
you
dinner?
do.
No.
God.
I'm having another Cliff Bar.
He
And I
does.
resent you for wanting to go to dinner.
This
I've
happens.
lost 10 pounds.
This happens.
It's true.
So when people walk up and be like, hey, you look different. Did you lose weight? You must just dance through the...
It's one of those.
So you look the same.
Wow.
Kevin doesn't give people a chance to say you look like you've lost weight. He leads with it.
He's like, you're not going to believe
Hey.
this. I've lost 10
I
pounds.
lost 10 pounds. I lost weight.
This hat used to just go right over. I had to get a smaller one. Did you change clothing?
I did.
You've gone down a waist size.
Lost 2 inches in the waist.
So now you're like a 38.
I would. Jesus. Soderbergh.
How much did you weigh in high school?
10 pounds less than I weigh now. No,
Oh.
14 pounds less than I weigh now.
Do you think are you going to get down to that?
My high school weight?
Yeah. All right.
I'm 71.
Yes, you look terrific.
Soderbergh.
Yes.
Seriously.
Seriously.
He hired a lot of funny people in this movie.
The whole movie was comics.
Almost. Did you ever ask him about that? I mean, maybe you don't want to point it out while you're in the middle of it, but it was almost strange.
I think he did it because the story, which is a very long book, which is a great book, and it's much more exhaustive than the movie.
Same title?
Yeah, I think the thought was, or when he finished that book and when Matt Damon finished that book, I think they thought this is inherently funny, even though it's kind of this crazy story.
Right.
But there's inherent humor to it, even though it can be seen as quite tragic.
Right.
So I think his thought was hire comedians, and the comedy will come out without them, doing shtick.
Yeah.
So, because if you look at it, kind of the biggest character is Matt Damon's character, and everyone else is playing it
Straight.
pretty realistic. And I mean, you look at Tom Papa's performance as McAndreas.
Wonderful.
He's amazing, and the Smothers Brothers are in it and
Yeah.
playing a judge. And
Rick Overton was
Rick
wonderful.
Overton was in it.
Tompkins, Patton
Yeah,
Oswalt.
yeah. All those guys, they have just an inherent thing to them. I don't think it means that if they played a serious role, they'd be like, sorry, too hilarious again, you can't play that serial killer. But meaning that it just kind of, I think that was the intention. I don't
Anyone
know.
more studly?
And then of course, Scott Bakula.
I was going to say, anyone more studly than Scott Bakula?
He is a man's man.
Emily loves Count Bakula. Loves him.
He's good. He's a really nice guy too.
You'll help us get him on the show because apparently he'd be very popular. Right?
Emily loves him. Did you
He's
hear?
huge. He's a phenomenon.
He has a crazy following that's like a giant wake.
Well, Quantum Leap was a terrific show.
Right.
And then he's just one of those guys that always does good stuff.
Yeah.
And do you watch the show he's on now, the USA Network show, the
Oh,
Men of a Certain Age?
the Men of a Certain Age. Are you making some sort of comment that I should watch it because I am in fact a
You mean you're out of the demographic?
I'm older?
Yes, you're too old for that show. I didn't imply anything, but you immediately leapt to it. I noticed. So I saw your sensitivity and decided to smash it.
I live just outside the door
I'm sorry.
of that premise.
No, he's great.
Talk to me about the working with Soderbergh just in terms of his style.
Was
there improvising? Was there?
No, not really. I mean, not in our scene. We just did, we did the scenes as they were scripted. Scott Z. Burns, who wrote it, was an incredible writer.
Oh, yeah.
So that was all there, and there's no director of photography. Steven Soderbergh does it all himself.
And he operates the
He
camera.
operates one of the cameras.
Yeah.
He does all the lighting. In this one, it was all natural light anyway, so it wasn't huge setups. And then, so there's no video village. Often on sets, there'll be a place where all these monitors are set up, and then the director kind of sees what it looks like, and then you don't know what's actually being taped. And that my first day of shooting was in a Holiday Inn, or a former Holiday Inn. It was Matt was in there, and Soderbergh was in there, me. So it's and then one other actor, Scott was in there, and then the producer, and then the boom guy, and one of the camera, and the doors closed, and we're just all in this hotel room in Decatur, Illinois, making a movie.
8 of you.
Yeah, just sitting in a 2-bedroom or 1-bedroom hotel room. It was really, I was like, oh, here's movie making, and
So glamorous.
Yes, it was so great. And Steven Soderbergh he's got that thing where you can tell you'll be well taken care of. He's just a supreme confident. He already knows in his mind, I think, what
He's
it looks
cutting
like.
as he's shooting.
He's already, yeah. So he's not one of those. We did maybe 2 takes, and if we did a 3rd take, people are like, "What happened? Did something happen? Did the light drop out?" So, and he's really remarkably funny. Like he and Matt Damon are two really funny guys.
He seems like he would be dry in his real life, Soderbergh, in terms of.
I don't know. He's pretty funny. I mean, he's not as dry as you'd think. I think, but he's pretty dang funny. Like I was kind of amazed about how funny he was.
That's awesome.
Which made me just even more jealous.
Sam Raimi,
Yes.
on the other hand,
Sam Raimi, really funny as well.
he's beautifully peculiar.
Yeah, he's great.
Shows up to work every day in a suit and tie.
Yeah. When I worked on Spider-Man 2, thanks for bringing that up.
That's what
yeah, we were shooting downtown, and you could buy right across the street from where we were shooting an entire hip hop outfit, for $10. You could buy shoes, the shorts down to here,
'Cause you were
huge
downtown.
shirt, and a medallion. So after the first day of this, the crew, as the first day of shooting, 2 of the crew were wearing the full hip hop outfit. Then by the 3rd day, the entire crew was wearing these hip hop outfits. And then 4th day, Sam was in. He had a huge gold handgun necklace, just directing. It was really funny.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was really funny.
That's pretty, because he's been wearing a suit and tie on the set every day.
Yeah.
Forever.
It's awesome.
But that was pretty early on. That was before the suit.
That was before the suit. That was in the audition. I improvised the entire audition practically, and I was there for a long time, just trying to riff, and he hired me. Thank God. And I had never been more nervous showing up to that set.
And you probably thought, well, this is it, because the first Spider-Man movie was so insanely huge.
Right.
this is your ticket to show business now.
No, I did not think that.
No, you didn't?
No, I didn't think, oh, the banker is going to become a supervillain at some point. No.
You didn't see that happen?
Well, I think I'd been on, you know how it goes, where you go on 6,000 auditions,
Yeah.
and you get a small percentage of them. And I had already learned at that point that it was a numbers game more than it was.
You have to do a bunch of these. And
Yeah, you can't ever plan on a break.
No.
And people are always like, well, this is the, like, oh, that was his big break. And I was like, I don't know. He did a lot of work before that and was working his butt off to get that break. So you kind of have to invent your own breaks by going to all those auditions and hopefully getting one or two of them. And,
Well, I'm glad you mentioned it because there is no way around the 6,000 audition part first.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's young people and there's some real, people that pop. But if you look at a lot of, so many actors get bounced out of the business or don't work anymore after a series or a couple movies. It's crazy. I mean, the attrition rate is horrible. So,
Right.
you have to the work never stops. You happen to be on something that everyone's watching.
Right.
Or most of the time you're not. So.
The guys on the Community, the Russo brothers.
Yes.
The early, when you go from pilot to series in that situation, how much involvement for you was there in the terms of the path of your character? Was it still a matter of? Because I read a few things that said they and Dan are of the ilk of, they'll pick at your real life to see if they can find something to put in the show.
Yeah.
During the course of the season.
They incorporate stuff from our lives, just like Donald Glover was raised Jehovah's Witness, so his character is actually a Jehovah's Witness, and they've brought it up a few times. And Danny Pudi is half Indian and half Polish, and he was raised in a Polish neighborhood in Chicago by his mom, who is from Poland. So he was raised in Polish Chicago.
He didn't stand out at all.
No, he didn't stand out at all. And he speaks fluent Polish. So that has already been incorporated into. He's got this one of his friends is a character who's recording. His name's Pavel, and they speak Polish. And so they put all these little things in. And Dan has always said to us, he always wants to write to us, and which is obviously an actor's dream. At the same time, at least when I first met Dan, as we were going through, I would just stick to him and listen to what he was saying about my character as much as I could, as I could, soak in. And a lot of people were like, "Well, it's just you," and I'm like, "Okay, I think that's a compliment, or it's not. I'm not. It's actually not me, because I haven't lived my life this way, but yeah, I mean, I stick to him to absorb as much as I can and as many insights as I can about him. So,
You gotta love John Oliver, by the way.
John Oliver, man,
Oh man.
he's back in a few weeks.
Oh good.
Yeah, John Oliver of The Daily Show.
Yeah.
Who's
You've seen his stand-up.
yes, amazing.
Holy shit.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Yeah.
He's so smart.
I'm expecting huge things from this guy.
Yes, I wish he would be on every episode. And he's also the nicest guy in the world.
Yeah.
I love how his stand-up is him basically pointing out the ignorance of America.
I do
And
too.
it's like, it's so true. We're
Yeah.
so stupid.
We are stupid like
Yeah.
trash. You're right.
I love it.
Well, but underpinned by he knows exactly, because he talks about Britain
Yeah.
and it being the former empire.
Right.
And that great joke that he does, he's like, yes, you're on top of the world, and all of a sudden now you're just a Geico ad. and as he said, you're a gecko speaking Chinese in 20 years. So
Nice.
it's brilliant.
Yeah, he's pretty terrific.
Whenever he's on the show, he's got an episode coming up that.
What designs do you have at this point? Oftentimes, when things are going this well, there's an ambition bug in your brain that says, "Yeah, but I want to write and direct in a couple episodes. Yeah, I wanted this. Yeah, I wanted that." What's going on up in there now?
For Community, I want people to watch it.
Sure.
But for the most part, I just want to be a part of hopefully making it the best show on TV. I mean, that's my goal. It's for community. I mean, I want it to be great. I know it. I mean, I know the writing is off the charts good. So if we can illuminate it, then I'm very happy.
There's clearly a design to be unlike everything else. There's an element to it that says, yeah, we look a little bit like some of these other single camera half hours.
Yeah.
But we want our pace and our storytelling to be unique every week.
Patton Oswalt, I think put it best, and I'll compliment the show through him, but he said it's like The Simpsons at the joke rate it goes at. That it moves, that has so many jokes in it throughout it that it's almost the same rate, so that makes me...
You can't beat that.
Yeah, and if you don't get something that happened in one moment, don't worry, another one's coming. Like in the zombie episode when I'm trying to get a hold of the police and they hang up on me, I'm like, Flava Flav was right. And which is a reference to the song 911 is a Joke from 1989. But who's gonna, I mean, it's like it passes by you very quickly and you're on to the next. Then you see Ken Jeong wearing a full ballerina or a ice skater outfit. And so that's the writing, just like last week with our bottle episode, which is an episode that all takes place in one room. We kept pointing it out through the show. That's what Dan does. He goes, we know what we're doing here. We're going to tell you what it is, and this is how it's going to go. Right. So Abed plays that. Danny's character kind of serves that purpose, kind of like Spock or Data from Star Trek. Absolutely. Where you go, where you know it's a comment on human behavior, a comment on what's happening. So it's great. So that's my goal with community, that people.
Now I've purposely left Chevy out of this interview.
Well, he's not here, is he? Chevy? Chevy?
Shall we?
Sure. Ask away. He's got a big episode coming up this week.
Does he?
Yes, he does. What the hell?
Was he there for most
came
of
into
it?
my it's great. Like this week, I will just sit down at my desk in my trailer, and just in black Sharpie will be the word tits, and then I'll know that Chevy has been there. And then the next is me waiting for him to leave the trailer, getting on my hands and knees with a Sharpie in his toilet and writing small in the bowl. And I have to go through like 12 Sharpies because they keep getting wet. I'm not kidding. I had to go through, but I was like...
It'll be worth it.
And then, of course, he goes, I think something was written in my toilet, but my penis was resting against it, so I couldn't see it. It's pretty good.
He's not competitive at all.
No. No, he's, his character says stuff that you can't... I don't think a lot of characters on TV are saying some of the stuff he says.
They're not supposed to.
Yeah, so it's great. Because he serves that great... That thing that happens to some... When you meet some old people and they say something like, well, he's really old, he doesn't know any different. But Dan has written him in such a brilliant way, and Chevy delivers it really well. And obviously he's Chevy. So he serves that great purpose in the group to kind of go, what are you talking about? And like in last year when Troy, they decide to live together, and he's like, great, I'll have you fitted for your uniform next week. And this is great.
Yeah. That'd be a fine example.
Yeah, it would be good, of something that he said.
That he shouldn't have said.
I just wish Chevy would stop analyzing the script so much.
Yeah.
Just stop poring over the script, Chevy.
Either that or read it once.
Read it once. Come on. The other day he was like, I read the New York Times. And I was like, you're not being paid to read the New York Times.
No, but he is in his world. Yeah. That's how it works. You pay me, and then I read the New York Times, right, and then show up.
He does have a lot of information about the New York Times. Yeah. So
I want you to start focusing on what your Larry King game might be.
Oh yeah, I know.
Do you want to go over the rules again?
So it has to be. I have to do an impression.
Bad Larry King.
Bad Larry King.
Takes all the pressure off.
Okay.
I want a bad Larry King. And then we just want that moment when...
Hello.
Perfect, actually. That has actually never been
My
done.
name is Larry King.
All right, there's your camera.
Just do it.
Yeah, go right in.
And you tell a story, and then you cut to a city.
Yep. Yes. Well, you've seen the Larry King show, haven't
yes.
you?
All right. Well, no, I've only seen the ones where Seacrest hosts. As an E employee, I'm required to. All right, here we go.
You're off to a great start. That's fantastic.
It's the best lean we've had
He
yet.
has to turn into a bird.
Well, great interview with Lord of the Dance. Thank you for coming in, Michael Flitley. He had to go. It reminds me of a time when I got food poisoning from a pteranodon. They undercooked it is what happened. That was, let's see, where was that? That was the north side of Pangea, where I lived in postgraduate school. All right. Kamloops, British Columbia.
Yeah. Kamloops, a first.
Kamloops, British Columbia. I've been to
First
Kamloops.
shout out to the Kamloops.
As I went on my way to Snowstar, the ski resort.
Oh.
Here's how great in British Columbia, the further north you get, you're like, where's the ski resort? You're like, it's next to the fire station. Because it's so freezing up there that
it can be anywhere.
It's great.
Thank you so much, my friend,
Thank you, Mr. Pollak.
for carving a couple of hours.
That was, wow.
You can't believe it, can you?
I cannot believe it. I'm supposed to be home in
4 minutes.
literally 4 minutes.
All right. Then
My
you better-
kid was vomiting last night, so I've got to go clean up that.
You saw some of the early work.
Yeah, he was like, oh, Dad.
Will and Grace, really?
That one commercial you did. It's quite a critic.
Thank you, and please get out of here and continue
Thank you
success
for having me.
to you.
And I hope that you continue to get larger, more ornate sterling silver rings.
We'll see you at the big year.
Look at that. With that hat, you look like you grew up you have just landed a small shipment of cocaine at Santa Monica Airport.
Let me fucking tell you something. Don't fuck me, Tony.
Yeah.
See you at the big year premiere.
When is it? When are they releasing that movie?
2011. Yeah.
Is it?
Sure.
All right. Any word on it?
I'm going to say spring.
I asked Steve how it was, and he was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I bet it's all right. I bet it's good.
It's got to be good.
It better be. It's going to be terrific. David Frankel.
Love him.
Yeah.
Devil Wears Prada.
Devil Wears Prada. And?
The dog movie.
The dog movie?
Well, Miami Rhapsody.
Oh.
I was in his early work.
You were?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I wasn't alive. I'm sorry, Kevin.
All right, sit there uncomfortably while I wrap things
Thanks,
up,
you
if
guys.
you would,
Go ahead.
please. Thank you so much, everyone. Oh, the gag is so much better when he's tethered.
Great to see you, Kevin.
All right, see you, buddy. That's the first walk-off we've had. So history's being made. There's a crew gag. I wonder what the crew's been up to. Let's take a look outside the studio. Thank you, sir. The crew has audio. They need nothing from me. Let's take a look what the crew's been up to the last hour and 57 minutes.
Today on Kevin Pollak's Chat Soup, the crew struggles for hours and hours to come up with a crew gag, and this is what they came up with.
Wow. Wow. All
right.
Right. Fantastic. Here, you want to get Mike?
Did you guys have brain injury? That was awful. You kidding me? A soup, like it's, oh. A soup like eating soup. Wow. Never been done.
Well, we couldn't have asked for more. We should have asked for less.
Yes.
Great shows coming up. Check the calendar. Please stay tuned
up next?
to This Week in Movies. This Week in Comedy, followed by This Week in Movies. And
Who is next?
Leonard Maltin.
Leonard Maltin.
The fantastic Leonard Maltin. Yeah.
I like Leonard Maltin.
Andy Richter coming up next month. Very excited about the Richter Man.
Oh.
And
Forgot my sunglasses. Oh. And look what else I got for free. Oh, wow, what a surprise. Kevin Pollak, the littlest suspect. What's that a reference to? Where was this recorded?
at a theater
Which one?
in Orange County.
Oh, it's not Carnegie Hall.
Until next week, as always, get out of my face.
He's all of the rainbows, but none of the rain. He's dry, but he's an alcoholic. He's hosting this train wreck again and again, and he wears a hat. He's carrying